We've got Dry Arabia to open up with, and interestingly enough, both sides decided to go for the French Ottomans combo.
Yeah, in general, what we've seen so far many times in team games is that one of the players tends to pick a cavalry focus civ, while the other one tends to pick an archer focus civ.
Hmm.
Personally, I don't like combining Ottomans with a cavalry focus civ, just because ever since the update that we've recently had, Ottomans actually have really strong Sipahi. Like, they are some of the strongest horsemen in the game. They get so much bonus range. It's kind of crazy, but they're combining both of these civs here. Both obviously really strong civs. And I mean, Ottomans, with their military schools, they still have the option to going into a lot of these Sipahi just to be annoying out on the map. They have like their one big static army, their archers, their matter, and then they have the Sipahi, which are just going to be annoying to raid. But
Well,
here we go. Game number 1,
that's right.
about to begin.
Let's hop into it. Day number 2 kicks off, and we're opening up with SortOf versus Mitoe. Let's see who's going to be able to take game number 1. I'm going to be doing
Here
this
we
with every team, by the way. There's a combo name for each.
All right. I mean, as you said, it's not a lot to talk about right now since we do have a mirror matchup. We do have French Ottomans for both players here. So SortOf and Magic both playing the French state, and Mitoe both playing the Ottomans here. We do see that Mitoe, he did open up with that usual build order that you'd go for when you go for an early military school. Did State do the same? I'm not sure. It does look like he did. Yeah. We can see on the map that there's a relatively big square there, so that definitely is one of the military schools.
You have to. I think another element is the preventative measures, right? We saw it yesterday in, I believe it's the Marine Lord series, where they were able to block one of the players off of the deer with the early harassment from the spears.
Yeah, just being able to annoy, especially when both players, both teams have a French player, just being able to have these early spearmen out on the map and just annoy the gold as much as possible. It gives you so much value early on. Whoever falls behind in night numbers is usually the one that is gonna be forced to stay on their side of the map. And that means a lot, especially when it comes to like these civilizations which don't want to go for farm transition at all at any point in the game.
No, and you know what, like something I was thinking about when you were talking about this idea of like Ottoman cavalry is I was actually expecting to see that. And I think we've already seen a preview of that type of double cavalry playstyle. If you recall the I think it's B's team yesterday, right? Where they managed to use, I believe it was the Ghazi Raiders plus the French Knights. Kind of a
Yeah.
similar logic there, right? And I think in some ways Sipahi are better because ever since they got that range increase, it's almost like having a Bassett's phalanx on spears, but with cavalry instead.
It's even better than that. Bastards, they have like 0.5 range for the spears, and the Spy have like 0.7. You can actually reach roughly like 3 lines deep. Like 3 lines of Sipahi can attack at the same time, and that's just insane.
And I think, like, even compared to the Ghazi Raiders, right, the comparison I made there with the Ghazis that the delegate is it's better for dealing with the French cavalry. But Sipahi are undoubtedly better for killing villages because of what we just highlighted.
Yeah, exactly. And archers as well. They can just surround, and the archers die in like a matter of seconds. It's not even close. Like usually we have like archers being able to somewhat kite horsemen relatively efficiently. But with Sipahi, they activate the fortitude ability, and once they get on top of the archers, it's just over. Another really big strength of the Sipahi is that they also deal way better with spearmen than Ghazi. If you have like 3 or 4 Ghazi raiders, you have to be really careful about like 1 to 2 spearmen. If you have 3 to 4 Sipahi, like 1 to 2 spears isn't gonna be a big deal for you, just because there is no downtime with pathing whatsoever. And you can't really kite, but it's easier to draw your units away and then rejoin with them to hit the units.
Yeah, I think one interesting thing why we're highlighting exactly this in this matchup is there is this pinnacle point where like you can get that clear edge, right? Because you mentioned usually you want to go into archers. If one player goes into archers and the other smuggles his way into a group of Sipahi unseen, that's almost just a GG because of the fortitude, especially you talked about. So you have to remember fortitude, it increases your damage output and it only increases your damage received against melee units, right? So those archers are going to feel like they're in no man's land.
Magic's now getting a little bit of idle time forced here by State. Spearman definitely doing his job there.
There's not enough to grab him here, right? It's annoying you can shiv back like this, but you'll never pinch him immediately. Instead, it looks like Mitoe was forced to actually defend with his spearmen instead of getting aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to do that, right? The Spearman's already there, and it's a little bit interesting how the spawns were. So, like, one French player spawns in front of, like, the other Ottoman player, then the other Ottoman player spawns in front of the other French player. So they have to go, like, kind of a crisscross way here around if they want to hit the opposing civilization there. like the French players spawning in front of each other.
Oh, wow. Is it me or did Magic kind of dodge death there? I think there might have been enough villagers to insta-garrison for a flurry of arrows. So a little bit dicey. But we'll get out there and keep a scout alive. And Scout's going to be critical here, right? Because of what we just mentioned about the dynamics where one player could go Sipahi instead of archers, this info needs to be revealed. The time being, though, State is able to trade out 1 for 1, but still is the one with a half elf bar, so he's definitely coming out of that looking worse for wear.
Yeah, in team games, vision is incredibly important. You can wall yourself in, sure, but if you wall yourself in, that doesn't mean that your ally is going to be walled in as well. And on these larger maps, it's also a little bit more expensive to wall in. So just keeping an eye on the army of your opponent always going to be crucial. Just knowing where they are, because if one of the players has a less mobile army composition and you don't know where your enemy's army is, you're always going to be running into the danger of suddenly getting like blindsided by your opponent's army. And yeah, that can lead to very devastating situations.
Absolutely. And it looks like ships in the night right now. Of course, the scout not too close by for Magic means he will not be able to see the knights coming in towards him. He has got one on guard here, but this could easily be one villager going down. Even if Magic insta-reacts, there's no getting away from that. So first blood drawn, it goes away SortOf.
Yeah, I mean, knights two-shotting builds, that's just... It happens so quickly, right? By the time you hear the notification or you look at where the notification is coming from, the villager is already dead.
Yeah, and it's like, for people watching, there might be a misunderstanding here, because you've seen this time and time again. A full HP villager, it doesn't get killed in 2 hits, it gets killed in 3 hits, right, Crackety? But of course, something got fixed recently to adjust that down to the 2-hit requirement.
Yeah, so the French, they do get a bonus where after they have a successful charge, their knights get a little bit more attack damage for a little bit. Now, in theory, that should have been instant, but up until a patch just a little bit ago, it actually took like a solid 1.5 seconds for the bonus attack damage to be applied to the knight. So what you had to do is you had to get the charge in, and then you just wait a second. You don't attack, you just wait a second, wait a moment for that bonus damage to come in, and then you're able to two-shot the villager.
Oof, Magic. A little bit of a switcheroo there. On the defensive, he's done a phenomenal job there of getting a charge off on the spearman on his side of the map and not taking the spear to the face. But that time around, when on the offensive, kind of gets caught out. This is one of the annoying things with charging dynamics, right? You saw what he tried to do there where he pulled the spearman to the south side, but because he was too close to his target with a blockage in the way, he no longer retained the charge. It was cancelled.
Yeah. And now it looks like SortOf is actually going into a second TC here. He has villagers on stone now, and he's also walling in his part of the map. It looks like State is doing something similar there, walling towards his the right side of his base, meaning that both bases can be relatively compact, and it means that all forces, if they want to get past these walls, will have to go through the middle.
Maybe a little bit surprising. I didn't expect them to kind of forfeit control this quickly, and now also with the scout going down like that, SortOf course, does have a second scout, but it's still limiting your vision, right? Restricting that kind of free info that you get. And you can see the difference right away here between the Ottoman players. Mitoe's already getting into the drummer boy and juicing up with the archer count. And State, he hasn't built a counter like we were talking about, the possibility of Sipahi. He's just raw maxing out on spears.
Yeah, that's a lot of spearmen that he has out on the field right now. It's a little bit of an overinvestment for sure right now. Looks like Magic at the same time, he went into that second TC quite a bit earlier than SortOf. So that second TC from their team is going to be going up really quickly. Now, there are a lot of spearmen here, though.
He gets it
Getting
up,
a villager.
Yeah. I mean, you lose one villager, but you get the TC up this much earlier. It's totally worthwhile. And something that's got to be highlighted is this was very difficult for Magic to do. Magic, who is now getting reinforcements, will cut off the rest of the spearmen. Because the thing I was going to highlight here is if you look at the generation, Magic had to play forward of his base to nab the deer. If you look in SortOf's base, by comparison, it's easy peasy, right? You just build the TC behind the primary.
Big thing that we're going to be seeing here is going to be all about the knight numbers. Right now, SortOf, he has 2 more knights out on the field than Magic. And the knight numbers are usually like the critical thing here in these kind of games. Because knights, they're just such a power unit in the game. They're able to dive TCs. They're able to be a huge, huge front line in your army. And yeah, if you're able to get up to the next age, they just bring so much value once they upgrade to veterancy as well.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because that's the dynamic change, right? Is that Magic chose to be maybe a bit more gluttonous here. But I got to say that Mitoe's approach covered him, right? He got a decent amount of spearsmen out. Then he makes the switch over to archers. And already you see, although SortOf has more knights, he doesn't really have a clear way to use them right now.
Yeah, there's still enough spearmen out from Mitoe. It's a very good balance here. Meanwhile, State, as we mentioned earlier, he overinvested a little bit into these spearmen. Well, not just a little bit, it's just way too many spears out on the field
Oh,
from him
especially
right
like
now.
this. I mean, he's kind of getting cut off in smaller groups, right? Worst case scenario. And I've noticed there's a shift in where they're positioning on the map, right? Like the way that Magic's playing the wide flank is now drawing the equalizing point more towards the blue team's base, right? Instead of where they were a minute ago, diving Magic second TC.
It looks like Mito's also pushing up further a little bit. He doesn't have a scout with his army
Oh my
right now.
God.
Doesn't have a scout at all, so it's a little bit blind here, but
Yeah, on both
he
sides.
might potentially find some value here.
I think he can grab 2 villagers here. I don't know if there's going to be an instant reaction. Okay, State does immediately react and pull back. I don't think he had that much vision in the area, right? So that wasn't an easy one to finesse.
Yeah, he definitely paid attention there and definitely saved his villagers there for sure. And I mean, right now, it looks like Magic's team is pulling a little bit ahead right now when it comes to villagers. They're 5 eco units ahead. The knight numbers are quite in favor here right now for SortOf and State.
This is what you're talking about, though. Like, look how the knights are suffering trying to reach these archers. The start step back is proven effective here. Like, sure, you chip away at him, but I'm just noticing one big difference here, and it's that gold glowing aura that State is still lacking. Knight's going to ride from red. Magic able to back him up, and he'll even tank the front line of spears. He knows he's got the number advantage here. Tries to start a step back. Remember, you got to keep that meta alive. But with this many knights here, you have to wonder, do Blue want to keep pushing this? Because State has nothing left to contribute.
Yeah, SortOf has to pull back here. The knight numbers were far ahead earlier from SortOf and State, but now they're even. And there's a huge amount of archers behind this from Mitoe. 25 archers, 6 more in the queue, and at the same time, State, he has 8 archers out on the field. So the numbers are just heavily in favor right now. We do have the meta now, though, from State, but definitely have to make something here, like just way more units. I mean, I think I could still see Sapahi here now, but it might just be a little bit too late. They really need to escalate the numbers here.
Yeah, it's hard as well because remember, like, Teal went double TC. Right, it's on a delay, you get an advantage out of this, but my thought just now is sort of only just started placing that secondary TC. How long ago were we talking about Magics? Like, what was it, 3 minutes ago?
Yeah, that one has been up for quite a while now, and I mean, we do see it mirrored here now, or at least shown in the village account, and military, I mean, there's still more knights right now out on the field from Magic, or at least he has one more in queue than SortOf has right now. So knight numbers are going to be favoring Magic's team, and archer numbers also as well. Eco looking good for them as well. They're in a brilliant spot here right now.
I wonder if Mitoe considers getting a second TC himself. It would seem maybe a little bit greedy, but I think he's got a big enough army lead that it wouldn't cost him that position, right?
Yeah. Oh, he's getting the ball now, only with 5 villagers and an outpost, so I like that play from him. He's not risking too much there.
Look at the queue up for Mitoe. 14 more archers in the queue.
You should probably cancel a couple of them, just make more archer ranges.
Yeah, like, honestly, I think he's looking for the jugular, but it's going to take time to get there. And, oh, Magic with the idol.
Oh, that's huge.
I mean, you're going to lose
villager.
You could lose 4 or 5
3.
here.
You can. There's not enough room. He could. Oh no.
I don't think so. SortOf is paranoid, right? Because he doesn't see Mitoe's army right now. He didn't see exactly where Magic's knights were, so he was worried about getting pushed behind. Because we've got this wall on the south side, right? So if he goes into that choke point, he's probably not coming out. And he may have been caroused perfectly by Magic. Look what's coming in from the north side, marched by Mitoe's troops, but looks like SortOf will be able to wiggle his way out.
That was so smooth, but at the same time, what's there on this way when he retreats? It's gonna be the villagers on the board. He's leading them right to them. Or maybe right past them. There is a scout there, so they should definitely know that there's something out there.
Yeah, but is that 5 villages? I think SortOf may have balanced this perfectly. There's no way with this many knights you're going to get through a fortified outpost.
And now both Team 3 unite again.
Yeah, need to be careful. Look at the meta as well. I'm more worried about where he's located right now. You got to respect that many archers. I mean, what? I feel like that's 3 rounds of arrows and your meta's dead.
Yeah, I think at this point you can't take straight up fights. You have to probably just hide under your TCs for now. Or if a fight breaks out, you want to be under your TC for that. Oh, villagers pulled back in time. Doesn't loses 1.
Yeah, he loses 1 for an archer in the end. That's fine, though. I think that's a good trade for Mitoe. And he needs to chip away at this, right? He's still playing on 1 TC at home.
Ramps now being built. And, I mean, there are 20 more archers right now for Mitoe than there are from State. And the numbers are just heavily in favor right now from Team Magic and Mitoe. But at the same time, economy has equalized a little bit here. I think they need at least like 2 rams if they really want to go for that TC. Maybe a 3rd one just to really drive it home, but the Ram investment could open up a window here for State to catch up with the Archer count.
It's the stable count. That's what they're going for, Crackety, right? Because think about it, SortOf is desperately trying to catch up now to Magic's numbers. So if they can just get rid of these stables, it becomes impossible. They're pressuring, they're trying to force that fight. Even next to the TCs, they do have the numerical advantage for the time being. Need to be careful. Ram already down to half HP and only got one love tap off so far.
And the Scout got taken down as well, so now this is a little bit tough for them to judge, like, the army size. And whenever you don't have a Scout, it's going to be really hard to judge how much military does your opponent have. Do you have enough? Do you maybe not have enough? It looks like Magic... Okay, for a second I thought if Magic dives the TC...
I think it's the scouting. Like, he does...
Yeah.
What you just said, and oh no, oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, this is tragic. SortOf. He's in the base, and Magic... I don't think he's noticed.
He also a lot of villagers there, and more villagers going down right now. He needs to send reinforcements over there quickly and at least pull the villagers back.
He doesn't realize. He doesn't realize this is going on. He's not getting attack alerts right now by the looks of it. What's that?
It depends on... I don't know if what vision, like what player vision we're on right now, but it's a lot of villagers that just went down there, and now it looks like they're pressuring the left side here of the base from SortOf. Looks like he just noticed. Okay, so...
Yeah. That's quite delayed, though.
Yeah, it was heavy losses, and right now we see a firm villager lead here from Team SortOf and State, and it looks like the push at the front has also stalled out a little bit. Now, sure, they got through that wall. There are 3 Rams there, but behind that, SortOf put up new walls, so even if the units go in there, it's going to be tough for them to find units, and now AJAP is going to be coming in. They have to fall back. They have to fall back by the same time. It looks like yeah, it's just a little bit, yeah, as you said, too obvious. Yeah, and the Meta gets sniped as well.
Oh boy, no, you need to get out of here right now. The problem is that movement speed is going to chase you down. They know it. You see the way that SortOf is just blunting the front side, making sure there's no counter pursuit coming in here. He gets the surround, he forces the commitment. Spears also joining in on this. A good fight for Team Blue, but Red and Pink, they have no choice but to stand their ground. Blue losing a lot of the Knights in the interim, but SortOf peels back, and you see Magic has been stung just as hard by all of this. And at the end of the day, one of these armies is going to be buffed by that meta, the other is helpless.
All right, while kiting though, the meta buff does not make too big of a difference, since there's always going to be a little bit more time than the auto attack animation anyways between the attacks, and looks like it's somewhat calmed down now. Magic still has more Knight numbers now than SortOf does, and now the AJAP comes in. The question is though, he still has 63 archers, but the upgrade is going to take a minute and a half or a minute to come in, and that's going to be a lot of
the worst part, Crackety, is Magic just pulled past, right? So he exposes even more of these archers. So, like, it's a hard choice, but surely you have to kind of buy more time with your premium units for that tech up you just mentioned to come through.
Behind the State, he has 83 archers right now.
This is insane.
The Rams, it made the difference. Because of the Rams, State was able to catch up in the archer department. Now State is going up behind us as well with way more archers.
I mean, there's a what if in my mind, right? The Rams eventually got ignored. What if they had been shuffling back towards Blue's base this entire time? Maybe they get a stable, maybe they get 2. Maybe by doing that, they're able to be of some worth. But so far, it's not just the fact that he invested in these Rams, it's that these Rams haven't really returned any value whatsoever.
Exactly. I mean, sure. Wait, the AJAP is coming in a little bit slow here now from State. I hope he pulled a couple more villagers there right now. Okay, now it seems to be speeding up a bit, but I think he only had a couple of villagers there at the beginning.
Now, there is a delicate point ahead for State. I do not believe he's begun a farm transition at all. Possibly maybe a few farms deep. Meanwhile, we saw that Mitoe had done that much earlier, right? So he's somewhat insulated. He also does have a secondary TC. Archers, hello.
The veterancy upgrade has come in, but at the same time, even with the veterancy, there's just 2 armies. You are not going to be able to win that against 16 archers with those. And I mean, if the upgrades are in, these archers are going to be able to do a lot of damage against these Knights. Now, the Knights have a maximum of 4 pierce armor in the feudal age. The archers do a maximum of 9 damage with every single shot in the castle age, though. There's going to be a lot of damage coming through there.
They need to force a fight right now, right? Because what you mentioned before about that tech up delay from Mitoe, now it affects State, and that's an opportunity to strike. They need to get in, they need to do so fast. Also, in the meantime, Magic now teching up. SortOf is about to feel overwhelming pressure.
Yeah, the thing is, SortOf was out on the map to try and get resource, but he has just been, like, pushed back there, so he might be struggling for resource right now. And we see him here out on the berries, and lots of military rushing towards it. Has to pull back once again, gets idled once again, and that just means that his AJAP is going to be delayed again. He still has deer in the back of his base, from the looks of it. Not sure how many villagers he has on that, or if it has even been depleted yet. Now the army count.
The positives for them are those Rams are still not here. They have been journeying across the map this entire time. Had they been in position, we might have seen a dire circumstance for Team Blue.
Veterancy has now come in for State as well on the archers, and Mitoe, he added in a couple more matter now, so even if one gets sniped, actually both players here, both Ottoman players here have 3 matters now, so
Understandable.
yeah, even if one gets sniped, you still have another one, and the matter actually gets some bonus HP now with every age up, so he gets a little bit tankier in the castle age than he was in the feudal age. But right now, when it comes to the army, it's just 30 more units right now for Team SortOf and State, and also 20 more economic units. It's looking really rough right now for Magic and Mitoe. They need to definitely find some damage here, but at the same time, State with the walls on the right-hand side, he's just walled off so many parts of the map, even giving a lot of... Wait, what's that? Why aren't all the units going there?
He's making the maze from Takeshi's castle, is the way I like to describe it. And both of them done this, right? It's the interesting thing. I said that they have similar styles, and you see it in the way that they negotiate territory. Meanwhile, Mitoe and Magic, like, they still haven't even fully enclosed themselves at any point.
Yeah, the middle is still open. I mean, for both players, the middle is going to be open, or for both teams, rather. The middle is still going to be somewhat open. But SortOf and State definitely doing a great job here when it comes to just extending the walls forward further and further. And now State actually sends a lot of food over to SortOf. So SortOf is going to now be able to age up with the Royal Incident. The question is it going to be in time? Because there was a huge farm transition in the meantime, and that second TC is going to go down potentially, or maybe not.
I don't see any farms working here, Crackety. Where's the food income? He might need to be sent a few thousand more by State. But they're coming with the backstab. Back up for the moment. Torches are out onto the secondary TC. They need to be careful about how they formulate the plan here. They know they're kind of stuck. They have to fight. It's do or die. Pull of a second wave arriving for Teal. Remember, Teal still has an overwhelming advantage in the archer count. So it really is on Magic to even this up, but there's no way to protect Mitoe's flank. Blue is in. SortOf, of course, does have weaker defenses on those knights. But I'm just looking at the Teal archers here and how they are dominating this fight.
At the same time, though, these archers, they should be doing way more damage here right now to the Knights of SortOf, but SortOf doing an excellent job here of just stepping up behind the archers every now and then. Now leaves the archer against archers fight. Does have to chase the Knights here from Magic. Magic diving into the economy or trying to get some value there.
I mean, that was a good strike. That was the best thing you could have hoped for, getting the Mangonel like that. And look at how unfortunate this is. Because of the size of the map, Crackety, Mitoe being ahead this long, that Mangonel has been on a journey of self-discovery when it needed to be involved in the battle, but it couldn't get there quick enough.
Exactly, and the archer mess right now, I mean, State, he's 30 archers ahead right now when it comes to Mitoe, and sure, there's a Mangonel, even has a unit inside the Mangonel, so that's get some extra attack speed, but he needs to fire. Oh no.
He clicked the deer. He clicked the deer there.
It's actually getting taken down by the archers.
There's no way.
It's down.
I can't believe that.
I mean, 60 archers, like, that one went down really, really fast there. Oh my god.
He did lose the meta. He needs to get the hell out of Dodge here. Now, this may be State, maybe overstaying his welcome a little bit. But remember, like, there's a transition underway into maybe a little bit men-at-arms, definitely into these crossbowmen by both of the Ottoman players right now. Keep that relevance. Walls are going to be deleted. Ain't got time to build up. Interesting enough, all these villagers came for nothing.
Yeah, they will have to run away again there. The issue is, if you have, like, the crossbowmen in your army, units are only going to move at the same rate that a crossbowman moves. So I feel like if maybe Mitoe just only selected his archers there to, like, move forward and State didn't, like, he was still moving with his crossbows, I think Mitoe could have wiped the majority of the army there from State. Didn't happen. Now gets a keep up in the mill. Keeps really, really important in team games. It just secures you so much map control without needing units there at all times. And there it is. Royal Bloodlines about to finish.
Just gonna make these boys beefy. Are they really in a position to push out right now? They definitely have the knight advantage, so you'd think so, but you've seen the approach SortOf and State have in these games. I mean, Team SortOf, or what was that one I went with? SortOf are more turtly, I'd say. You can see it just by the way that they've been slowly walling their way across the entire map.
Yeah, but now I think for the first time in like 5 or 6 minutes, I think Team Magic and Mitoe feel a little bit more comfortable right now. The economic numbers are looking good for them once again. And military-wise, it's also pretty even. Now, what I do like from Team SortOf and State is they also share resources. So we saw State sending over a lot of food. We saw him send over a lot of stone. Means that SortOf is going to be able to get a keep out and reduce the cost of his units. Looks like SortOf also made a trader, but now Magic's units are in there.
He's going to keep the exit open as well. He already knew that he had a risk of being walled off here. So we'll chase through. Attempt to build up a gate is going to be commenced with, but I think they're going to be dispatched before they complete it. Full army is on the way. Magic, he has no way out of here. He needs to burn the south side, or that army from State is going to clean him up.
thing is, Magic has no scout there. It takes him so
Oh, boy.
long to find anything to attack, and like these knights, they're dead. Like they're not getting out of that.
He got the info. He got the info. He gets out. He doesn't believe in you, Crackety. He says, "Shut up, I'm out of here."
All right.
I mean, it's a good point, right? But I think this guy right here, Henri saved the entire royal army there. If he didn't see that army coming, I'd be surprised if Magic tries to torch his way out.
Oh, he still has some units in there though, and they're not gonna. Okay, just when I say it, Caster.
Are you sure, Crackety? It's okay. Take a moment with this one.
I like that.
Knights
Was
chasing
so
knights.
greedy with the knights being there. Yeah, they're not gonna go down here, but. I mean, are getting chased out now, and then rewards are just going to be happening. I still really like how State is sending Stone over to SortOf, just making the units from the French player cheaper. It gives you so incredibly much value at the same time, though Magic also has his own keep there.
Not just that. I'm looking at what's happening with the other part of Team Mitoe. That's a lot of Mangonels on the way. This is a type of fight that State can't take, especially if he doesn't see it coming. Mangonel's wheeling out. Limited vision in the area. They're going to get their shots out, and State... he's caught sleeping. 10 down, he has to retreat.
God, that was such a big Mangonel shot, and his siege is also faster. He did get the upgrade, the Vizier point.
What's
so
the Mangonel doing? But
it's information.
Go! Get out of here! No traffic jam times. In the meantime, Magic outnumbering on the flank. SortOf can't hold him there. They have to retreat. The only upside is the keep. The downside is Mangonels can play game with that too.
Yeah, Mangonels can only get reached by a keep if it has the Springleton placement on it. At the same time, SortOf is losing the Knight battle here against Magic. Right now, only 26 Knights compared to 41 from Magic. Military numbers now looking insanely well here for Magic and Mitoe.
He might get cut off. The villagers need to get out. Magic! He can block this off. He can actually cleave down 20 plus if he does this right. They're shuffling round. What a humongous loss for SortOf. Cut out and pushed into his own corner. His trade route also brings him out into this. And I can guarantee Magic has zero reasons to leave this push behind.
No gold access right now for SortOf. That's why he's struggling with the Knight production. That was his only gold that he had access to. He's out on stone in the middle of the map, but he needs to pull a lot more villagers over to gold. But at the same time, there were huge raids from SortOf on the other side of the map. Look at the bodies there.
Mitoe loses about 20, but honestly, I'm looking at this right now. SortOf could lose a hell of a lot more. Blocked off and is in corner in the entirety. Gold limitations like you talked about. And also Mitoe still parked on your front door, refusing to budge.
Oh, the Knights, they did a lot there, though. Look at the economy numbers. I think like 40 villagers died from Mitoe, and more villagers are still going down here. At the same time, Mitoe, he is pushing on the keep.
Oh, that's another loss. I
Wait,
can't help but think this is worse for SortOf still. Despite the counter raise, like you mentioned, it's the gold factor. If you are playing a 2v2 and you're playing French and you cannot afford Knights in Castle Age, why the hell are you even playing the French?
And Magic's numbers right now, it looks like Mitoe is also able to clean up, but Magic, he's almost at 60 Knights right now. And behind this, Mitoe, sure, he lost a lot of villagers, but he's going to make up for it. He's investing into trade now.
And Magic, look at the lock on the center. Another keep going up. That's going to be infrastructure around it. Attack on the counter flank still costing Mitoe dearly, but remember, he's playing Ottomans. A decent chunk of his army can be passively produced. So the issue that I see right now is State and SortOf have no way of cleaning up the current pink army. And if you can't do that, it almost seems irrelevant that Mitoe's lost so much economy.
The keep is getting repaired, but
no boiling oil. They're just
no
going to
boiling oil. They're just going to dive. They're just going to kill it.
You can't fight this either. The Mangonels can move in, and these archers and the choke points could easily get wiped. Torches are there. Mangoes are moving forward. That's going to force a retreat out of State. Shots are coming out. If he doesn't move fast, that's going to be the whole army going down. Springel's trying to counter out the Mangon on the other side. Keep his set ablaze. And Teal, rock in a hard place, has to commit. Mangoes are in, and that's a heavy wallop straight to State's center flank. Meanwhile, Blue not able to help. SortOf below 20 on the cav count. There's no answer to this. They cannot force Team Red Pink out of their base.
And insufficient stone keep goes down. More Sprinkles out on the field. There were so many in queue for State, but not on the field. And means that the siege from Mitoe just destroyed like 60 archers there from State. And yeah, this is just a point. They can just run in. They are just going to overrun the team now.
Ride or die, baby. They have 100 military lead right now. This is absurd. I do not care about the 20 extra eco. Ooh-hoo-hoo. It doesn't matter at this stage. Look at the mass Springel State has, but look at the lack of army to protect them. Your anti-siege has no protection.
So many keeps, but no boiling oil. The army just runs by them. And these aren't Chinese keeps. These are just normal keeps. They only shoot arrows, but Knights with so much armor, they can just shrug it off. They run by Pringles go down, and with that, the military number is in shambles. 160 to 32.
There's no recovery. There's no way back now. Like, it doesn't stop. The trade has now been spotted as well. Not only have you lost all the siege, but you've lost your gold influx. Map control is falling away from you. You've got maybe one big gold vein remaining between the two players on the right side. Everything else belongs to Mitoe.
Oh my god. Yeah, this is over. It's just gonna be a matter of time now until SortOf and State realize, because they're sitting on the entire production now off State, and all the economy is getting focused now as well. Trade is disrupted, and yeah, GG does get called.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. I think we know who the fairest of them all is. I mean, mirror matches might seem like a snooze, but this one, anything but. A slight difference in the approach to these two civs. And well, it's actually going to be the NA boys who come out ahead. Magic and Mitoe looking absolutely disgustingly beautiful in that late game.
Yeah, that was just incredibly well played. I mean, there were so many losses at one point at the side of Mitoe. Look at that villager count. Just, he loses so many villagers, but doesn't matter if you can't deal with the army.
That was the thing. I love that from Mitoe. It was so well calculated, right? Like, you highlighted, oh, you must have lost like 20, 30 villages. And it's like, yeah, but you're almonds, right? You're basically a cap. The only thing you're missing out on here is Imperial Age. So if your opponent can't reach Imperial Age, do you care? And it was just a brilliant balance between the two, right? Because Magic, it almost feels like, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel that you don't want that raid on Mitoe's base at all. You want that raid on Magic's base.
Yeah, I mean, we can see with the Knight count here. I mean, SortOf, he did a good amount of damage, but the Knights, they just... At the same time, Mitoe did a lot, and Magic also did a lot to raid SortOf, meaning that SortOf just wasn't able to produce as many Knights. I'm sure he made a lot of stuff happen with the fewer numbers that he had, but just wasn't enough. If we look at Magic, like 60 or more than 60 Knights, all with royal bloodlines from the French, it's just a number that you can't really deal with.
Nah, it got vulgar. You saw how it was at that stage, and you saw the desperation of SortOf, right? Like, the interesting thing, I think, that really solved this game for me, for Mitoe and Magic, is when Magic, with his secondary TC, plays forward of his base, right? You can see how they differ in the strategy of in the overarching game, right? That for Magic and Mitoe, it's how do we take more ground? Meanwhile, for State and SortOf, having those backspawn resources, it almost baited them into this like false security of it's easy for us. And I think you saw that in the way they approached that mid-map. It was very evident at the point where SortOf had 30 villages panic running towards Red's army, just trying to get out of hell.
Yeah, there was just so much idle time for SortOf there with the villagers. Like, he was so far out on the map trying to get resources. At the end, he even went all the way over to State's gold just in order to get gold access. And that's like the thing with French. You need gold. If you don't have gold, that's also why SortOf went so early into trade. He was just struggling for gold, and yeah, it showed. Like, it really showed there when just Magic having the gold access managed to pump out so many Knights. Now, State and SortOf, they trade out resources every now and then. Like, State sent a lot of resources over to SortOf. He slung him all the way into Castle Age, but gave him even the stone for like 2 keeps there, which did help quite a bit when it comes to like producing Knights for a lot cheaper. But there was no gold exchange in the end, and gold was really what SortOf needed there. I mean, State didn't need that much gold, considering that he was making mostly archers there. Later on, he did make siege. He did need gold for that, but yeah, it was just a big gold issue there for SortOf not being able to produce as many Knights as he definitely needed to there. And now we already see what map and what civs are going to be next. And it's I mean, we just had a mirror matchup.
No, but we haven't got to have another mirror matchup, Crackety. That's the good news. As you can see, it's Abbasid and Roos versus Roos and Abbasid. It's very different.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how they spawn this time then, if it's still going to be the same civs opposite of each other. But yeah, I mean, Roos and Abbasid, this is more... It's once again like the formula: one player plays a Knight civilization, the other player plays an Archer civilization. We've seen it more often recently. The Abbasid with their mass archers, and then in Castle Age with the composite bows. It's really strong. Like, the composite bows, the archers, so much damage going out from them. You can mass them up so quickly, and yeah, wouldn't be surprised to see like just a military wing opening and then going for a second TC and just flooding the map with archers. That's usually how I expect that matchup to go.
Yeah, it's kind of funny actually how the Abbasids have changed. Like, in my eyes, they become the king of infantry in Feudal Age, right? Like, because boot camp just gives you that kind of that offset against, for example, attack speed, or as it bounces a bit more. And usually the way your economy is kind of like, balanced around the golden ages, you'll arrive in Castle Age eventually in most games. And once you get there and that composite bows you mentioned kicks in, like, I, what Civ competes for that, Crackety? Like, maybe the English with network of citadels?
It's not even close. It's 15% attack speed for the English as a bonus. Meanwhile, it's 33% for the composite bows with the Abbasid. It's absurd, honestly. Like, they fire so incredibly fast. It's nuts.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking, like, you'd have to get the network of citadels upgrade, right? And that's not always easy for the English. Like, for those who are playing your chill games on the ladders, yeah, okay, I get it. Like, maybe you get to go Imperial Age all the time and it's fun. But most players in competitive don't allow an English player to just drop a keep for free unless he's willing to build the White Tower as a tech up. So,
Yeah.
definitely with you on the whole Archer affair. But wondering what we could see when we move into maps like Dry River and Rocky Canyon still, right? Because I understand on open maps this dynamic of one player has the cavalry and the other has the infantry composition. But now that we've already burnt French and are about to burn Rus, your options become quite a bit more limited, right?
Yeah, so what Balchin and I do is we still look at like the remaining civilizations and what civilization counts more as a cavalry civ than the other. So we look at Mongols, for example, they get the Kashyyyks now in the feudal age, and we see, okay, yeah, that's a clear cavalry civilization. Now, previously, Mongols would be taking the role of the archer civilization with the double production early on. They just flood archers, they get the Yam aura and stuff like that, the Khan attack speed arrow, and they're going to have really good archers. But if you look at it in the format that Afreeca is playing, where you can only play every civilization once, and you really have to do the strategy thinking behind it. Okay, Mongols, we no longer play them as an archery civilization, we'll play them as a cavalry civilization. Then the same goes for like Delhi. We also play that one as a cavalry civilization with Spahi. And then we also look at Ottomans and we're like, yeah, sure. This one is also a cavalry civilization. Let's just make all of them cavalry civilizations, and then we just look at how we combine that with a really strong archer civilization, depending on the map. And then we get to Dry River. Dry River, I think that's probably the best map to play Delhi on. For example, they get the fishing ships that can shoot. So the Dry River, like the food income, is basically uncontested there early on. You can't really make spearmen because if there's like 5 ships in there, they're gonna do really, really quick work of the spearmen trying to torch down the dock. And yeah, overall, the way you split up these civilizations makes a big difference here. Now we've seen Ottomans and French here being played early on, which I think, okay, in the long run can kind of hurt both players here, like both teams here. But so far, it's all been mirrors, so maybe not gonna hurt them as much here. It's gonna be like ideal case. If this would have been like French and English at the start for one of those teams, it would have been really hard for the other team.
Yeah, you know what I'm actually thinking is, like, you mentioned Delhi coming out on Dry River. I actually think like a good solution on that map to Delhi is Chinese, right? I mean, I'm sure you can kind of like you can get your Chinese sipping glass out and assess this, but my thought is you go for outpost or Barbican plays on the docks, right? And you basically invalidate that food source. And the disgusting part about the way those work, right? Ever since they changed it, fishing boats now take the bonus damage from outposts, so you can't even just min max around it.
Now Delhi, they did get the bonus, or rather, they did get it written down there now in their like civilization profile, where their fishing ships have a lot more bonus HP than normal fishing ships. But overall, if you build a Barbican with China in the middle of the map, that can leave your main base really exposed. And as China, what you don't want to have to deal with is with raids on your economy.
That's fair.
Because China, they're so reliant on their eco being safe. If it's not safe, that's why if there is a Chinese player in a matchup, like in a team game, you always focus the Chinese player because once they crack under pressure, they don't come back.
That's fair. Yeah, I can see where you come from. I think even maybe just snaking some outposts though, right? Because one thing I've noticed with Dry River that makes it annoying is the stealth forests right next to some of the ponds. You just kind of like think you're safe. All of a sudden, an outpost starts ambushing you from nowhere. But we'll have to see if that happens when we get to. For those just tuning in, Magic and Mitoe, although it took I think it was about 30 minutes in the end, they were able to win the mirror matchup the first time around. But SortOf, they get an opportunity to redeem themselves because it looks like we're not done with the mirrors just yet. Honestly, like there's so many mirrors around here. Be careful if you trip, you might get 10 years of bad luck. It's kind of, I'm starting to wonder actually if this entire series might just be mirrors.
I mean, let's hope not. I mean, mirrors are fun. Mirrors are fun every now and then because it like gives you a clear picture of the skill of these players. But we don't want to just all have mirrors here today. We want some different action here today. And now we go game number 2, Magic Mitoe versus Team SortOf State and Hunting Cabins. We talked about a couple of changes so far in the new season. Hunting Cabins also have been changed. They are now being built way quicker. And
Yeah.
look at the spawn here. Both players, like both teams' players, spawning really close to each other.
Yeah, that's insanely close, actually. Like, compared to the last map, where it was just like, you were distance apart. It was almost like watching a romantic movie where they can never be together. But this one, not just that, I'm also looking at the way that the tree lines spawn between them. It's almost like, 15 minutes in, if I'm State, I might just remind SortOf to come over to my base and build hunting cabins between both of these tree lines.
The way I'm looking at this, State has so much access to wood that it's almost hurting him. Like, where does he place buildings at a certain point? There's so much wood around him.
You know what the flip side is, though? Like, it's so easy to wall yourself in, and this is a matchup where there's a knight threat. You might not even have to worry about defending with that many spears. You might just be able to be more aggressive because of this.
I mean, Stady has so much wood access, like, and he's playing as the Abbasid. He's gonna be the one making archers. This is perfect for him. He wants all that wood. He's gonna make use of all that wood. He's gonna be spamming so many archers like there's no tomorrow.
Oh my god, it's not just that, by the way. It's like, I feel like we're State Fanboy Club, but we have to emphasize is the most interesting spawn here is if you check his right corner, it's very easy to wall into that back area, set up multiple TCs, and eventually transition farms. It's a lot easier to wall off that area than any other corner in this map.
At the same time, Magic and Mitoe's map, all the wood is forward, so if there's like a really early push coming out from SortOf and State, it could be tough for Magic to remain on wood and be able to pump out archers. Like, all the wood is forward, and it's not nearly as close to the TC here as it is for State. Like, State has like 2 tiles between his TC and a large wood line. Magic doesn't have that going for him right now.
Nice. I think one thing to keep in mind, though, we saw in the last game, is Magic and Mitoe's style of play suits their resources being forward to their base more, right? Like, they are very confident to play with their extensions forward. Meanwhile, SortOf and State, the way they played last game, I wouldn't be surprised if they're much happier to just be turtling and forcing their opponents to headbutt them. And a big difference is emerging, as expected, because of those playstyles we just highlighted. Eco wing coming out from State, couldn't blame him for it, really. But on the other side, Magic is looking to get frisky. He's going for the military wing.
I'll say I don't like the economic wing in team games as a first one, just because the majority of the game usually tends to take place in Feudal Age, and if you have like the superior upgrade with the bootcamp in Feudal Age, it makes a big difference. It makes a humongous difference, I feel like, and sure, the economy wing can mean that you have a better farm transition. You don't need to spend as much wood on farms. You don't need to spend as many resources on your gathering buildings, on your town centers, stuff like that. But at the same time, there's so much food on the map. You don't need that in the Feudal Age with the amount of berries that are out there.
No, and can I just say I love that detail from SortOf? I don't know if you caught that. Like, he went up to the high ground when he saw that like Mitoe was coming and waited there for his scout to run past, just so that he could sneak into the back and get info without them knowing he's doing so.
Yeah, getting info that your opponent doesn't know that you have tends to be like a really solid play there for him. Now we see berries being gathered now. It looks like State is trying to connect his buildings now to get a really early...
Mother of sheep.
That's a good amount of sheep, even more
No,
sheep
get the North one, Magic. Come on. No. He's a sheep whisperer. He just walks around and goes, bah. And then he looks behind him, he's got like 20 sheep.
That's a lot of food as well. I mean, there's so much food already out on the map. So many berry bushes, so many deer. Interesting enough, the deer, now Magic and Mitoe's team, they both have deer in the back of their base. Other than that, it's all in the middle. It's all forward. There's not a lot of food in the back of the bases for each player here.
Yeah, but the food in the back of their base you're talking about, it's not the back in a beneficial way. It's flank back. Really flanky as well in some cases. So it doesn't even feel like something you can safely hop onto. Your only real choice, especially if you're Mitoe, for example, is to take the deer ahead of your primary.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, In
Mitoe.
theory, there are some cliffs that you can wall to, and then they're secured. But before that happens, there are other more secure food resources to go on.
Absolutely. And it's expensive, right? Like, and also just like the thing that I'm looking at is if you compare where SortOf drops his Kremlin to what the option is for Mitoe, I mean, it's dead obvious who got better value for this, right? Like, he had 4 deer, he had it leaning towards State's base. There's a lot of defensive value out of what SortOf has done. Meanwhile, Mitoe's, it's more self-beneficial, but it also doesn't secure the deer that you probably like to have.
Military wing units now make their way over to base of state.
They've been running this whole time.
2 archers. Yeah, it takes a while. It's bigger maps. But...
Get yourself a bus pass for the month. It'll be much quicker. Fort Berry, though, is going to be a little bit annoying for State. Looks like he's already backed off that, though. I think he has, like, 2 berry patches behind that he can rely on.
Yeah, so he's getting the berries from SortOf potentially. And, I mean, even if he doesn't get them, he can just boost them up for his ally, right? Which is so great. If you're playing with an ambassador or a Delhi player together...
Oh, yoinks.
Oh, wow.
We didn't see that. Now that's...
Didn't see it come. Yeah, that's creative.
Yeah, unexpected as well. So Mitoe going into Pro Scouts, and he's being subtle about it. I think he's chased away vision in the area before he's picked up. So by the time that SortOf realizes what's happening and tries to mirror and counter it, you've probably already got 1.5 deer stacks worth.
Yeah. Now behind that, both Abyssal players do get their second TC up. Mitoe even protecting that one with a knight.
Not just that, though. SortOf has already gone for a second TC, so... You're noticing a big difference here. Obviously, Mitoe's getting the edge of Pro Scouts, but he doesn't now have the eco boom of a second town center. And he has been snooped on earlier than he would have liked.
I mean, still, this if he gets enough of the deer out on the map, this is going to be super worthwhile. Even if he adds the second TC a little bit later.
Why is this like... No, we're going to hang on that. Mitoe, you're just a developer, so you should hate this man. Why is he only getting 15 gold for that?
Some of the trees, because of the rework, have been like reserved
were they
by the
claimed?
other.
But yeah.
Yeah. We
But
see
not that
34.
many, right?
This climbs up. This is going to climb up. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, there we go. It's the delayed tick. Okay, yeah. So 31 makes more sense. For those that don't know, there was a revamp with the hunting cabin. So now
It's going to go up once more. It's going to be like 40.
And it's also another detail that they changed with this is that having more trees around counts less than it used to in the previous patch, right? Which is why we're not seeing people chop into the tree lines as much anymore.
He's going to get to 500 bounty here with that.
Oh, good lord. Not the way he done that. Yeah, and this is a popular thing early on that people realized, right? It used to be even easier. Is you take a knight and a scout, and with the previous aggro behavior, you used to be able to just run the scout around the knight and never get hit. Because you remember the boars used to have the that person hit me, I hate them forever behavior.
I think that was only in the pub though, right? I don't think that actually made
that was
it
at
to
release. That's the way the behavior worked at release, I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Then again, I was kind of a pleb at the beginning when the game came out. So.
Oh, I was a nerdy Roost man. I think they changed it like a season in or something. I'm sure chat will correct me if I'm wrong, but I recall that strategy used to work all the time. But anyway, looking at the way this is playing out, already playing out on the Deer 4 to the base, we know long term there's more value for Mitoe to be had here. But it really comes down to like how much SortOf can block out. Because now another thing to consider is these back deer were left until last, and there's no way SortOf gets knights in position to stop an extra deer stack being grabbed for free for Mitoe.
Oh, villagers out
guys,
on the field. Mitoe,
guys.
not just Matt.
Oh, missed opportunity. He maybe gets one or two, but the Spearmen are going to react in time. They should be able to save the rest. One goes down. Spearmen are outnumbered, but Knights are on the way, so Mitoe's about to discover this is not a fight he wants to take.
Oh, Mitoe could still take that
He
fight.
really
That's a brilliant thing. That's a brilliant thing, right? He only invested to 3 scouts. He didn't go for like 6, 7 scouts in order to take the deer as fast as
Make
possible.
Pumbaa angry.
Only
Make-
3 scouts, and a lot of Knights behind that.
Am I the only one thinking it right now? You should be attacking that boar if you're Mitoe, right? Throw away the knight if you need to, but disrupt everything in that area. But you're right, he was able to outnumber here. Takes down 2 additional spears, chases forward on the additional knights, but in the meantime, the Wooden Fortress did get up, so Mitoe is going to be forced to retreat.
I mean, in theory, Mitoe just downright has enough knights to just completely overwhelm this. It's going to be tough because you can't heal them back up again. But potentially, like, if he gets all of his knights there, 8 knights versus 7 spearmen,
Yes.
you can take them out really quickly. And now the archers are coming in from magic as well, and that's already a lot of archers. Even bringing in a camel archer, and camel archer is so important in these kind of situations where there are going to be knights on the field, because knights have so much base damage. Their base damage in Feudal Age is 19. it's getting reduced by 3 to 4 damage with a single Camel Archer there. Every single attack doing 4 damage less.
Yeah,
it's a huge difference.
And the thing is, like, we are now seeing the same thing play out again as last game. This difference of style that matters so much. Mitoe and Magic's approach to this game seems like a direct counter to SortOf and State's. Right, we saw in game 1 where State, when he was playing as the Ottomans, he rushed into a second TC. Mitoe playing as the Ottomans did not. And once again, we see a similar thing, this time with SortOf being the one who rushes a second TC and Mitoe holds back. He just seems to have a great understanding of what they're trying to do and finds these brilliant timings to be aggressive, which is what he's doing now with the Gremlins.
SortOf knows. He knows that they will not be able to hold that. There's just so much military out on the field, but it looks like Mitoe is diving past the outpost. If he finds the villagers, that could be a lot of dead vills. That they do get away. They were looking for them.
Yeah. But the problem you now have is Magic and Mitoe know how much stronger they are. How do you ever get back here? Even if they didn't torch it down like they are right now, there's no way you can ever now walk past them. You don't have the numbers for the next 5 minutes to do so.
The AT has 2 archers right now. Magic, he has 25, and these are not just the same archers. These are stronger archers. They have boot camp. If you go in like line formation, the archers are going to be shredding them because they just survived so many more hits.
Knights, SortOf, he gets baited in. So the Gremlins, they should have got their value just on the Wooden Fortress, but they get additional. I mean, if you think about that, those temples of Gremlins, you kill 1 Knight, it's actually worth the exchange.
You can also see just how long it takes for these Knights to take down the archers. Boot camp and the damage nerf from the Camel Archers means that the Knights has to attack like 5 times or even more, like 6, 7 times if they want to take down an archer. 7 attacks for an archer? That just feels bad.
And you know, I'm just looking like, and I'm thinking, where did this truly go wrong? It's not just the composition that Magic might have done. It's the answer that State was looking for. Are you seeing those walls towards the center? Is this guy playing Age of Empires 4 Settlers of Catan? Because it looks like he's trying to move in hexagons to a new city location.
He wants to split off the map, but I mean, the 1 TC play right now, 20 Knights compared to 11, 40 Archers compared to 4. Now, there are a couple of Spearmen, and the economy is bigger for State and SortOf, but the production just isn't there, and this push is going to be incredibly tough to hold. I even doubt that they're able to hold it.
Yeah, I love Mitoe just taking down additional walls to make the opening big so they don't get choke pointed. Archers are going to push back against the Knights that are disrupting. Ram still needs to be complete. If they get 2 Rams here, that TC, no doubt in my mind, it cannot survive this.
Yeah, but I think if they're going to have to take a fight, it has to be under the TC. I mean, SortOf, he still has the Kremlin. He probably has a lot of tickets in there. If he gets all the Gremlins out there, and again, there's like mass archers. Yeah, this is the only fight that they can take, I feel like, under the TC with the 16 Gremlins. But it looks like they're pulling back. I think they're sacrificing the TC from the looks of it.
Archers begin to dive to support the Ram. They don't necessarily need to be there, but they just want to make sure this is a one and done. No attempt to do cheeky repairs. A pullback by State and SortOf in the meantime as they buy time to escalate their numbers. They do know they have an eco lead, even if they have this TC go down. Maybe it's not worth it. The villagers come out. They try for repair, instantly get punished. TC now on fire. No doubt about it. That's going to be 7 villagers down the drain. They are at least going to get spearmen in. But there's no support coming. SortOf is delayed. He's busy flank attacking. Is finally going to come in. Tries to at least. But it feels too late.
At least it wasn't villagers inside the city. It was all military units. But that even makes it a little bit worse because it just escalates the situation of having less military than your opponent. And right now, 92 to 46. And I mean, there's just so many Knights on the field.
He summoned the Gremlins as well. Like this has to be highlighted. They haven't been used.
Yeah.
Tries to get them in now.
It's too late, though. It's too late for the Gremlins.
They're trying to cut off the other side of the choke point, but I think you're fine with this. The Knights can body block, the Archers can deal with the Gremlins, and you can just keep retreating like this. Good cover by Mitoe.
Yeah, if he sends the Ram back in, it's also really, really good for body blocking the Gremlins.
They just start stepping back, though. They know, they're confident, they've got the numbers. Magic now has 67 Archers in the field. Camel Archer to support as well. I don't know how they ever meant to get rid of that. Night Mass has just been blitzed, SortOf reduced to barely double digits. In fact, Magic and Mitoe, their cavalry count is over double that of their opponents.
It used to be 1-2 and came to military. Now it's 1-3, almost 1-4 right now, and now even more Rams getting dropped. Look at how many Archers are in queue and how little are in queue for Fate.
Guys,
so many Archers.
Just calm down. Go build another Ram. Okay, you're not meant to dance like this. We're not summoning her. It could be much quicker, but Magic says, I don't care. We're confident. Second Ram up, third to join the queue. And after that, world's their oyster, really. I mean, where do you really go from here? Obviously, there's probably more desire in breaching state space right now due to that Kremlin, but they might just want to get rid of the strong point defense.
When you get to 90 Archers, you're going to be able to one-shot Knights.
Good God.
We're getting there. We are absolutely getting there.
Chugga chugga choo
They're
choo.
diving.
They're
The
going
most defensive landmark in the world, the Kremlin. It's just, there's no landmark which is quite as good in the Feudal Age when it comes to defense, with all the emplacements on it.
Yeah, the
Not even the
castle
Barbican
turrets that
can keep
gives
up with
the
that.
+2, right? The +2 arrows, that's an extra 16 damage per flurry. Like, it actually, it takes a dump on Barbicans, it feels like. But here we go. Attempt to defend is going to be a big whiff. 3 rams quickly making their way through. Torches under the Kremlin to get rid of it. And I look at these archer numbers and you almost feel bad for laughing, but what else can you do in this situation? It feels futile.
I just instantly gets taken down as soon as it spawns there, and that's villagers. Now we're seeing villagers going down, and food is desperately needed here by SortOf right now. He's out on the map. Actually, there are so many villagers on the left side of the map just desperate to get resources. They can't afford a farm transition at all right now. And
They're
it feels like
sharing berries with a Roost player.
I mean, it's boosted, right? It's more berries. You
Well,
get,
the
you get more
gather
berry.
rate ain't though, right? If I'm state, I'm like, get the hell off my food, bro. You get the poopers. House
Oh,
situation
man,
as
but-
well. I mean, like, is it me or most of
Yeah.
his house has been built forward of his base here?
I mean, that's the point, right? So many trees in the back and all around the base. Where are you gonna build?
His archery ranger's also going to be sacrificed state. He still can't catch up all these numbers. We've breached triple digits for Magic. Meanwhile, it is half that in the archers for state. About to be worse for him as he won't be able to escalate at the same pace.
Magic will soon be pop capped, and at that point, he's just going to be able to go to Castle Age. And
that'll be
that many
GG.
archers in Castle Age, yeah.
The composite bows you mentioned in the pre-game, the moment that comes to the field, it feels like it's over. Choke point being used to their advantage, you'd think for the archer mass, but the problem is, Magic benefits just as much, if not more. This backstab attempt by SortOf, watch how quickly these knights die. They can't get in. It feels impossible to get red out.
It is impossible. The Rams just keep chopping down at that TC. Now, we would expect that under a TC with this fight, the archer numbers from Magic go down. Instead, they go up. He's at 112 archers. He started this fight at 100.
He's not stopping. Remember, it's that boot camp. It really does add up in these situations. Night mass, all but gone. SortOf. His total army is less than 10. Less than 10 right now. In total between these two teams, it's a triple up in military power, but it feels like so much more.
There's just more archers coming in more and more. It makes such a big difference. If a TC needs more than 1 volleys to take down a single archer, it delays the damage, it delays the units from going down so much. Now, it looks like they might have to fall back a little bit here, but actually
What are you talking about? We ain't leaving. Mitoe's
It's getting
dead.
thinned out a little bit, but yeah,
Yes.
this just killed the main TC. It only has like 7.5 HP.
Not anymore, it don't.
behind that. And GG.
Woo! Magic and Mitoe. Mitoe looking unstoppable. Their playstyle truly does seem to be the kryptonite to the power that is SortOf and state. And now, so quickly, 2 up, you find yourself in a position as SortOf where you cannot make a single mistake if you hope to go further in this tournament.
Yeah, we just see State and SortOf pulling ahead in villagers by such a huge margin, but that's a little bit where they got caught with the hand in the cookie jar, right? They had so many economic scalings going for them, but the military just wasn't there. And if we look at the military count, it's just absolutely devastating how State and SortOf just have been so far behind. And look at that. Look at that.
Oh my God.
That feels like a Chinese Jugendu military graph right there, but it's archers, and man, oh man, that is just devastating.
I mean, honestly, like I don't think I've seen a graph rise like that in a team game in a long time, so consistently. And you know, sure, you can go, oh, look at Mitoe. He wasn't really. No, he was contributing. He was the tank, and he was a glorious tank at that. And you know, it's interesting. It comes back to what we were talking about. Not only the fact that like Mitoe is the deviation from what everyone else is doing in the game. I think it's more than that. The brilliance of this is that the way they grab resources is more fluid than their opponents. And I know why you're laughing, Crackety. I'm not drawing attention to it. We're not a highlight. There's no way the entire series is going to be
way,
a mirror
right?
match.
It is. I mean, now there's no other way. Now it's no other way. Now it's always going to be a mirror because there's only 2 civilization remaining after this one for both teams.
We
and
need more civs. Relic, please, come on.
where's the Danes? Where's the Vikings? Where's
Yeah,
the
where's the
Japanese?
Danes? Where the Vikings, Japanese? What else was there? There was a bunch of other ones. I think
Byzantine,
Byzantines absolutely need to come.
Spanish, Italians.
Yep. Can we go for like what else? Let's get Irish in there as well. They can just throw potatoes at people. Actually, no, they
Yeah,
get.
there's also a lot of African civilizations that
Ah,
are.
that's true. That was what we were clearly hoping for. Like Africa, are like if we get in and they announce an African civ, everyone in 804 is gonna mistype African for Afreeca. Yeah, that would be genius. I see where we went with this.
All right, just
Oh.
quickly making sure before I type about it. Map geological. Where
What
are
Dry
they on the
River?
map?
This is the one with the fishies. Yes. And Rocky Canyon's the one with the rocks and the puddles that have no fish. Was that what you're worried about? And Rocky
No,
Canyon has trade.
I was worried about. I. Okay, yeah. Let's just say my geography isn't the best, but I was quickly making dead sure that the Khmer are indeed from Africa.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going somewhere else. I thought you were going to point out that actually, like these two like empires have a lot of overlap because you had the Delhi and the Mughals, and then you had the Mongols. So, yeah. History, kids. Whoop whoop.
All right, but once again, mirror matchup, Delhi Mongols. We talked about earlier, like Delhi, really, really good civilization on Dry River.
Yes.
Now, I'm not sure how much we're going to be seeing in the Dark Age, like how much investment's going to be there in the Dark Age from the Mongols in this one. Just because it's going to be tough to like pressure the docks early on, right? With
Yes.
the fishing ships that have archers inside of them.
Well,
But
if you
it could happen with like outposts, and
yeah.
yeah,
If you find the
that's something that you
Mongols
mentioned.
docks as well, right? That's the other thing. Like you mentioned, the Delhi's the one that you don't want to go after. It's not. It's not like the Delhi. If the Delhi and Mongol player drop docks on the same lake to share fish, they've already kind of lost the game, right? So there should, in theory, be weak points in those deposits.
You can't kill the fishing ships immediately. Once the Delhi is up to like 4 or 5 fishing ships, that's when they're actually able to take the fishing ships out really, really quickly. And
Yes.
that's usually where the ratio is like, okay, it's worth idling your 5 fishing ships in order to start taking down the opponent's fishing ships.
Oh no,
That's
no.
like the
I was
really big
talking more
point
like to your point around you can't harass the Delhi lakes, right? But you can
Yeah,
Mongol outpost rush the Mongols lake,
true.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, both civilizations really, really want food. The Mongols with
Yes.
the new Kashyyyks, they suddenly found a way to spend a lot of resources in feudal age. Like before, it was like, okay, Mongols, feudal age, I want to skip that. Is there a skip button here? Let me skip that. And now it's like Mongols and feudal age. They're like, fine. They're gonna be like, okay, I actually have resources to spend here, and I got units to spend them on, which are actually good. And yeah, I think Mongols overall are just in a really, really good spot right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. And what's interesting to me is where we're going to see the deviation, right? The recipe so far for success has been to take an infantry comp with a cavalry comp, but we saw signs of potential danger in what the 3D clan done yesterday with the double cavalry comp, and this is one that ticks that box, right? If you get Ghazi Raiders with the Keshiks, it counters your opponent's Keshiks, right? So you do have a window to run them through.
Yeah, there's definitely a window there for them. The thing is, like, once the Kashyyyk numbers get like really, really high, though, like even the Ghazi Raiders probably aren't going to be able to deal with them too much. And Mongols, they do have the double production early on. They're able to escalate their numbers really, really quickly.
That's true, but like the logic here is like both Mongols are likely going to push Keshiks, right?
Yeah,
So if both of
that.
them are pushing Keshiks, but one Delhi player shows up to the big pinnacle fight with Ghazi Raiders, and the other one has like mainly archers,
I'm not sure how strong the Ghazi Raider is exactly
is
against
it
these snipers.
+4?
It's +3, I want to say, but the thing is, the main thing is that the attack speed is lower for the Ghazi Raider than for normal horsemen. Meanwhile, the
Yeah.
Kashyyyk actually have faster attack speed than normal knights, so
Oh god,
it gets to like the point where the bonus damage might actually just get completely out healed, and then it's just normal horseman versus knights
it's
ish kind of.
actually worse than I thought. So feudal age Ghazi Raiders get bonus 2 damage to heavy.
Okay, that's nothing.
Right, and the base damage is higher. So
True.
normal
Yeah,
horseman it's 9, and then with the Ghazi it's
it's like
12.
12.
Yes.
Yeah, so
So
12 damage. I
so
mean,
overall it's
it's still
5
good.
extra. Yeah. So it's not too
Yeah,
bad, but you do pay a premium for that, right? It's an extra
you
20
do pay a
resources.
premium and you attack slower. Meanwhile, it's the Kashyyyk attacks faster, and every single attack heals them for 3.
Yeah, so scrap that, guys. Don't do that strategy. Maybe against French Knights. I think it looked like that was the game I'm remembering, right? Where it was against French Knights. It looked actually pretty decent. But yeah, don't. Maybe not against the unit
We'll have
life
to see.
steals.
Like with like massing them up, it could still be really solid.
Mm. Oh, we'll get a chance to. For those just tuning in, wondering what the hell's going on here, this is, of course, the Afreeca Duos. This is a 2v2 tournament. It is taking place exclusively on Afreeca. And if you are a SortOf fan, I need you, that is SortOf and State, by the way, I need you to start cheering really loudly. So loudly that State hears you halfway around the world, or SortOf hears you halfway around the world, because one's European, one's Americano, living in Korea. So you'll be closer to one or the other. Because if they lose this game, they're, what's the word we're looking for, Crackety? I think aus. They are aus. Completely gone. They don't have a chance of facing off against Crackety and his team
It's the
later on.
destruction. I mean, I really wish for SortOf and State to at least take one game here. I mean, SortOf and State, they're just such a dynamic duo together. I really, and they're so like, whenever you see State, for example, in a chat, in any Twitch chat, you're just like, oh, that guy, what a
Yeah.
nice guy. Yeah, and you really want to see him win one of these games here at least. But Magic and Mitoe, they've just been so absolutely solid here in these team games so far. Like, it's just been incredible what a performance they've put up here, and like the strategies, like they know when to greed or like when to get a little bit of greed in, when to scale the economy. Meanwhile, what we've seen from SortOf and State feels like their plan has always been from the get-go to be greedy, to like scale the economy. And it feels like Magic and Mitoe just have to balance a little bit more down, like when it comes to, okay, now we scale our eco, or when we scale our military, when we go for the all-in. And it just worked really well here for them in the past 2 games.
Absolutely. I think you're right, spot on. Like, you really cheer for a lot of these guys. I think there's a lot of great personalities in the scene that you love. Like SortOf to me is a lovable giant, is the way I describe him. He's such a wonderful dude. Stay, like, honestly, like, I've bigged this guy up. I remember in Golden League, I was like, this is the guy to watch out for, right? Like, he's very impressive mechanically. Like, this guy used to play at quite a high level in StarCraft 2. Also, by the way, his magical skills on the mic, I think he still consistently works, not just StarCraft, but PUBG as a caster, while also still finding time to be a pro player in AoE4, right? Man of many talents. Then on the other side, I mean, myself, talked a bunch of him, very knowledgeable guy, very talented as well, as we're seeing here. And Magic, of course, can be a bit cocky, but it's like when someone's cocky and in a almost like you root for them way, if you know what I mean? It's like, it's the calm, calculated guy. It's the villain that never sweats.
Yeah, I mean, he's achieved something in Wololo that not many can say for themselves, like taking down Marine Lord in a set, like in one of the first sets as well. And going from like seed number, what was it, 16 to seed number 1 after a single game.
Yeah. I mean, he's the only
he
one
can, yeah.
who beat Marine. Like, so technically, so what you guys need to realize about Magic, and this will explain why he's 2-0 up, is in the S tier LAN, the only S tier LAN we've had like in Age of Empires 4. No offensively, right, but like full, like it's a literal castle. Obviously, Warlord's on its own standard. The only person to beat the reigning champion of Age of Empires 4 is on that team. It's Magic. He's the only person who's done it in the tournament where Marine Lord became that champ. Just food for thought. I'm waiting for like Marine Lord to appear in chat and be, I still won. I'm like,
True. I guess on that day, Marine Lord's head, I think the legends is Marine Lord's head shrunk by an entire centimeter on that day.
oh yeah. He was able to get out of the double door entrance. I actually gave him I dubbed him a nickname that day. I gave him the name Maroon Lord because his face went so red. Oh, we love you, Marine Lord. Looking forward to seeing you play more. It was very impressive what they were able to do yesterday. I believe that was against the 3D guys, right? It was Anatand and Dark. You've muted yourself. No hablo le crackety. Speak. Okay, rejoin the Discord call. Marine Lord's on to us. He's shutting us down. He's already cut off Crackety's audio. Crackety? I've still got nothing. I'm going to try reconnecting. One sec. Sorry, guys. Okay, Crackety?
Yes.
You're
hello?
back. There we go. Fantastic. We got it sorted. Just in time for the game as well.
I'm just going to say, my Discord was working perfectly. I was lighting up.
I could hear you connecting and disconnecting, but you disappeared. But you are back, my friend, and we are back for what could be the last game between Team SortOf and Mitoe. find out.
SortOf and Mitoe. Here we go. Once again, a mirror matchup here that we have on Dry River. It's going to be Mongols on both sides and Delhi. And we're starting off here, and looks like State. He's going to go for that early mill. Now, mill still makes sense because you do get these early upgrades for pretty much free. And by the time that your dock finishes, you usually have enough resources for your first fishing trip anyways. And we see both Delhi players going on the same pond here. This has happened to me in one of my practice games as well with Baltune, where just both Delhi players, they just dock the same one. And that's why I knew that once you get to like 4 or 5 fishing ships, that's when it starts getting worth to take down your enemy's fishing ships with.
Yes, and the interesting thing is, like, you're seeing the Mongol players haven't gone out yet. That's due to the initial investment, because when you're a Mongol player, you historically always end up going for the UV first, right? Except in naval 1v1s, where sometimes you have to go dock. But if you're not forced to immediately go dock, it's always more valuable to open UV.
Yeah, just Uvu in general provides you with so much stone. It's like having 2 villagers, I want to say. 2 villagers on stone immediately. So it's like an investment of 150 wood, but pays itself off really, really quickly, having those 2 bonus villagers in terms of your income. And yeah, you're going to be able to get a lot of spearmen out. But looks like both players, both Mongol players at least, are going for the same plan here. Both are making spearmen early on. State. This is just so annoying.
Well, the problem is, like, even trying to take out the villager can be annoying, right? Because although it looks usually like there's perfect accuracy, there is not perfect accuracy with these boats.
This was worth it. A fishing ship gathers with like 0.7 from shoreline fish. A villager would have gathered with 1 food per second, right? So this was definitely worth it, idling out that villager and forcing it back. But now both players are going to be doing the same thing.
And now it's just a question of who is going to stop first. I mean, we were expecting probably, 5 fishing boats from either player, and you said that's the point where you can start trying to out-damage the healing of the docks.
Yeah, that's the point where it starts making sense. Like, that's where the ships go down quick enough to warrant idling your own food economy at that point.
Spearman already on the way from Mitoe, so that might give him the edge, right? You mentioned you need 5 fishing boats, but you add the torch spears from the torch rather in there as well, and there is opportunity to just instant gib some of these boats.
I think it's with these ponds, if you're able to position your fishing ships in a way that the spearmen can't torch them down, they're going to be there for like no reason at all. But it looks like there's an outpost coming up as well, so they're definitely going to try to contest that pond here.
Check vision as well, right? That scout just ran away. I don't think he's going to see this.
That's a lot of builds.
Well, there's no doubt it's going to be going up, right? And also, this is interesting that there's the snowball effect of how he can set up on a lake himself as a Mongol player, even play towards the deer, have this kind of proxy base area pushing towards State's base.
The thing is, with that outpost, looks like State could probably still access the shoreline fish on the other side. Here we go, 5 fishing ships. This is where they can body block. They can body block it.
Oh, you bully. You absolute bully. Nice dodges coming in from State. He can't afford to go 1 down right here. That would be catastrophic. He might be forced to. Final flurry of arrows should come out. That's 1 sinking. The spearman going to join in. State not reacting quick enough here. He's just going to lose the pond entirely.
Oh, this hurts so much from the fishing ship going down. And now this is going to be at a point where he's not going to be able to contest that. And look at that, sort of behind that. He's actually going up. He's going up with deer stunts now. Deer stunts make sense. There's no markets here. But yeah, he's going up with the deer stunts now. He's going to be aging up. He didn't invest as much into fuel age as Mitoe did. Question is that going to be fine? Because now State, he's going to have to completely rearrange his economy here in order to go up to the next age.
And just to that point, like, he didn't invest as much in the Dark Age, right, is what you're saying. But like the thing is now, because Mitoe's playing out to deer and he has the potential for more ponds, although it'll be delayed in his tech up, he can come in stronger on his eco in the next 2 or 3 minutes. Especially when you consider that State has nothing to his name on this pond. All fishing boats are down. The dock will easily be removed. And remember that State invested heavily into this Dark Age. He's nowhere near ready for feudal.
Yeah, that investment did not pay off for State at all. It looks like he's actually going to dock another pond now, which I feel like you kind of need to do if you want to still be in this game. But it's going to be so tough for him now. It's going to be so tough for him to come back. We can see that he's still far away from the next age. And I feel like Magic is probably going to be able to age up relatively soon here now.
Yeah, it's on the way now. I was about to say, I think State is by far going to be the last one to tech up. I would wholly expect Mitoe to beat him to that, just because he's now out there. Obviously, you do have the berries at home to kind of supplement you a little bit. But yeah, it doesn't make up for the fact that you spent 150 wood and then you spent an additional 375 on boats.
Now Tower Victory is going to be coming up here. Means the archers from him are going to be quite deadly. Mosk also going up now.
That is the most pathetic. Like honestly, just remove that lake from the game. That shouldn't even exist.
In theory, you could make it in the very tier-ish kind of, like in the very edge of that, and then you only delete one. But the way he plays it, he deletes two of these shoreline fishing spots. Which
Honestly,
is a little bit unfortunate
I
here for
would
him.
have rather just said, Mitoe, why don't you build a gur here and get shoreline fish there? Oh, good lord. Well, Army's going to look to clash. Now, this does, of course, initially benefit SortOf, but the problem is he can't dive deep because these fishing boats will even up the fight and, in fact, even favor Mitoe.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, whenever they think they don't need to take a fight, they can just pull back to the shoreline there, and then the fishing ships are going to be able to help them out.
He has got deer close enough at all times as well. We'll see what he wants to do. It looks like he's actually retreating. He's actually retracting to the safer deer, but that makes it much easier for SortOf to now win a fight there because, of course, Mitoe is still waiting on the upgrades.
Yeah, looks like H-Up and a stable has come through. Now there's no hardened in yet, but that upgrade only takes 15 seconds. They're soon going to be hardened, and he has more out in the field.
He has it. The calm won't make the difference here, not for blue, and I believe he already used the maneuver arrow, right? So no easy way of peeling back. So Mitoe will successfully defend, and actually it looks like he's going to wipe SortOf's army entirely. Might even get the Khan if blue's not careful.
Spearmen are going down. It's not the
evens
worst
out.
exchange overall. Yeah, this could have been way worse.
That was great micro there. SortOf
Actually wins.
Yeah, he found the one spearman that was being chased after by 2 or 3. Just stabbed them as they ran past, and now in control. But with health bars like this many villagers could easily just pull the shivs out to finish you off.
Yeah, exactly. But now there's a single archer. Single archer is basically going to be able to completely kill all of these. But at the same time, 2 archers now from SortOf. So Mongol player also going for the archers here. No Keshiks yet. That's a lot of archers already on the field. He has 6, but at the same time, Magic has already 2 Keshiks out on the field.
Yes, that's the thing, right? Magic, because he got his hands on the food, he's going to be able to boost up, maybe not just into the archers, he might be able to add into a few Ghazi. But on top of that, Mitoe always had that target of going Keshiks, and we mentioned this dynamic already, right? You need a heavy cavalry comp. Right now, SortOf and State don't have that. In fact, look who's going to be providing it. State, who got pushed off of his pawns, had to reset. He's the one going into the Ghazi.
Now, in theory, like, sure, the theory behind it is, okay, Delhi, he gets a lot of food, so he's going to be able to pump out these Ghazi Raiders easier, right? But at the same time, you can also argue that, okay, the Delhi player is already going to be on wood, so why not just as well make archers and just supplement your food eco so you don't need any villagers on food at all with the fishing ships. But looks like they chose to go a different route here. Now the Ghazi, I mean, yeah, look at the charge damage there. That's also a thing, right? Horsemen don't have charge damage.
Exactly, and I'm just perplexed by it. I mean, because unless we look in State's base and we see a Dome of Faith, you've given up a huge advantage, right? Like, if you have Dome of Faith, I kind of get it, because, you know, you're playing more into Scholars. You could even send Ghazi back to heal. But right now, you're up against Tower of Victory.
Trade.
Oh, well, of course.
This is not expected on a map. Yeah, this is not expected on a map which doesn't have neutral trading posts, but you can still trade to your friend's dog, right?
Yes.
I think it's like 30% less effective, something like that, like a really high number. But you're still gonna get a lot of trade, especially on a map size that big.
And the thing is, like, yes, you've got these Ghazi Raiders, but they might be forced to just address the Keshiks all the time, which means who's going to be hunting, right? Who's going to be addressing this? And I love what they've done here. Mitoe, remember, he was torching this dock down with the Spearman earlier. He didn't finish it. Why would he need to, right? There's no way you're going to do anything with this. So he saves it to heal up Keshiks later.
I'm not sure. A single archer ship, like the new archer ships, they have been buffed, so the arrows, they actually fire really close to each other.
Yes.
Means there's a lot less spread with the arrows. They do a lot more damage to fishing ships. They, like, a single archer ship here could actually
But
mean
it's the
that
outpost,
all of these...
Brackety, man. Like, you know how this one works, right? You think it's a good idea.
It's not in the range. It's not going to be in range if you place the archer ship on the opposite side. But now we see Ghazi and Keshik clashing on each other. Keshik walking past onto the archers. Good fight, actually. A lot of archers going down here.
Oh, wow. Delayed response into the Ghazi now from Magic. So slight edge there. Look at blue massing up here. And the problem is that you're held hostage by those fishing boats. Because you know, if you chase SortOf and he steps back just a little bit, you're going to be cut down. In fact, you're being cut down either way.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, with the archers in this mass, whenever one of these Keshiks go low in HP, the archers are going to be able to finish that one off completely,
Ghazi.
even if it gets pulled back.
Body blocking again. And these Keshiks, as you said, are being brought low. They're not able to sustain easily. And you can see the damage coming out from the fishing boats. It is adding into this, but Ghazi Raider price is still high.
That's a lot of reinforcements there. It's Mongols, man. They with the Yam aura in their base, like the gathering of wood becomes really, really quick. You get so much movement speed on your villagers. Wouldn't be surprised if he even has like wheelbarrow or if he's thinking about wheelbarrow.
No.
Because with Yam aura and wheelbarrow, you get to 1.5 movement speed per like tiles per second on your villagers, and then it's just so quick.
Now there's a reset point coming, by the way. They're baiting in. SortOf needs to be careful about this. I'm sure he's aware. Archership is being produced right now. You mentioned it earlier to come out for state, but you can actually keep these archers at bay with one archership. It's very difficult for them to stick on top if there's a supporting army on land.
Ghazi Raider actually
Value.
doing some Matrix-like dodging here, but there it is.
Yeah, no, this is...
See that.
Abort. Wait.
Huh?
Magic? Oh.
Okay, never mind. The archers with the spread formation actually getting the value in. Scarlet does get taken down, but only after capturing that sacred site, and both Delhi players now have a sacred site each between them. But it looks like State is already walling off the other sacred site in the opposite side. So if it gets to the point where there's like 2 sacred sites for one Delhi and only a single one for the other, looking at right now, eco numbers and military looking really good for Team SortOf and State.
Now, there's a trigger delay here, right? Something that we always have to be aware of. Things are looking good for SortOf and State right now. But Mitoe have got the trade slowly building up behind this. And that's something to be aware of, something that isn't known either. So at some point, SortOf, they have to take this build that they've built into, this lead that they've escalated, and go looking for things. They can't just be content sitting in the center.
And whenever you talk about these names,
SortOf, is it throwing you off?
SortOf and Mitoe? No, I'm just thinking about what we're getting into later on. Like if we have Beastie and FEH.
Oh, I'm not going to ruin for you. No. Let me surprise you. My brain instantly came up with them when I saw the schedule for today. My brain works in weird ways. Wrap around from the Ghazi. Looks like some brains are going to be splattered right here. Keshik numbers not looking that great. Attack speed arrow is going to be initiated by Magic. And I don't think there's a card here, right, for blue. So that's a big disadvantage for SortOf, but he makes up with it with raw numbers. Magic continues to flurry through. Remember, he's got the Tower of Victory, but completely outnumbered now. Horsemen chasing in onto him. These Ghazi Raiders will last long enough. The Magic should be pushed entirely back.
15 Ghazi Raiders and even more in queue right now. The Keshiks, they just take so long to produce. They have the same or a similar-ish production time than a Knight has, so it's really tough to mess them out. And it's only from 2 stables right now from Mitoe. He's just not able to keep up with numbers from State. If he puts a Scholar in a stable for State, that's immediately 2 stables. And State probably has multiple stables with Scholars inside right now.
I don't like this. That's a production line we're reaching into now. SortOf. He's licking his lips, he's shaking his hips, but you have to say no.
Still staying.
Backstab.
With the reinforcements coming in. Oh, but at the same time, Ghazi Raiders as well.
The Keshiks. They've done nothing. They've done absolutely nothing, but gave blood to the Blood God here. Their own blood.
Indeed, and there's just not enough of them out there right now. Whenever they come in, that's the thing, right? They have so little HP compared to normal Knights. Now they have the same armor, but 145 HP compared to 190 that a normal Knight has. Means that the critical amount of archers to like really chunk away the HP bar from these Knights is way lower.
And you feel like the Mitoe is hard stuck in this one, right? I'm not seeing any world in which he transitions. I mean, actually, like, am I alone in thinking I'd rather just see him spam Horsemen?
I still don't think so. I think maybe if he just adds in a couple more stables, he could maybe like ramp up the production, which is really what he needs right now, ramping up that production. The main thing that I really like here about the composition from Magic and Mitoe is that Mitoe uses his Khan to boost up the attack speed of units which are already affected by the Tower of Victory.
It's insane. I agree. Like, that's what I love. We saw it in the last fight towards the pond. And I agree on your point. Like, actually, I think, you know, maybe the Horseman player mentioned makes more sense if Mitoe wasn't trading. But the fact he's trading is what is going to allow him to snowball that Keshik count you talked about.
Same time, though, the Yamara movement speed does mean that the archers here from SortOf are going to be incredibly agile. They're going to be faster than HRE archers, which are already fast. And so many villagers going down there.
Such an annoying unit. These Ghazi Raiders, we mentioned at the higher base damage, it means that they can go off and snipe villages more easily than your standard horsemen. You pay a premium.
I'm not sure if this was worth, though. I'm not sure if this was worth because he just lost like 6 of them for 5 villagers. And when it comes to like team games, the team that wins an important fight is usually the one that ends the game.
Keshix trying to ride in. That Yam making it hard to gap close though. Ghazi's do get baited forward. Attack speed arrow is going to be triggered. They see a stand ground opportunity here. The Ghazi, they just try to mirror. They're trying to minimize the opportunity for the Keshix to return attacks. They do a good job of it, but Mitoe is rescaled to such a large number. It's not easy.
Yeah, but like Magic, he has so many archers now as well. And the initial damage, oh, there's an archer ship as well. Has to be careful.
But State, I'm looking at State's Ghazi losses there. I feel like he lost more than the Keshix are lost here. This exchange, it was better for Pink.
Yeah, it looks to be. And now there's suddenly a lot of Keshix. There's even numbers, Keshix and Ghazi. And in that count, the Keshix are going to be superior. The Ham going down now as well.
The pain of this as well, because if you try to A-click, you're just indirectly targeting the Keshix instead of the archer on the other side. I mean, Mitoe, he's played this bottom feeder role, right? He just throws himself at the enemy every time. Similar to the last game, in fact, so that Magic can continue to build the premium army. In fact, it's been this way through the entire series.
Has to be careful now, though. All the Keshix have been taken down. Kills a fishing ship. Archer ship is still alive, though.
I mean, the numbers, though, he's completely disarmed by this. You can see he's got the movement speed to back off, sure. But, you know, even that archer boat struggles to stay alive but gets target fired by Magic.
Behind this.
Magic needs to take it out.
Is this? I mean, they're fighting under a tower the entire time. I'm not sure right now. I mean, maybe as soon as he ages up, he already has the stables. He can go into like mass knights.
That's fair.
And he does have 2 sacred sites behind this, right? So he's getting a lot of gold while he's aging up.
And in fairness, like he's rolled out Mitoe's numbers. Now Mitoe, in theory, could tech up at a similar pace at this rate, but he's not cutting production right now. He's still pushing these premium units that are essentially cannon fodder.
Now, I mean, military numbers are starting to suffer here right now for Magic and Mitoe.
We're finally going to kill the outpost. It's been here quite a while, folks.
Keshik's still working on the outpost. They have to move forward here in order to like soak up some of the arrow damage here, because right now the archer numbers from Magic are starting to shrink.
There's no contact speed arrow coming out to assist you right now. That's a problematic element. But finally, they do get rid of the tower. That is going to force SortOf to kind of stalemate out here. He can't just stutter step the edge of the fight like he's been doing so. And they will get an opportunity to
Knights are on queue.
Problematic. It's not just the Knights. The fact he went compound the defender as well, Crackety. So we could be looking at keeps to stabilize the center area, which of course for the Delhi means extra TCs as well.
5 Knights immediately in the queue. This could be really, really bad here. As soon as the 7 Knights, 8 Knights in the queue. There's so many Knights, and still Ghazi Raiders in the queue as well. And with the Delhi, you're able to produce them so quickly from the stables. If you have a Scholar inside, usually it takes like 35 seconds per Knight, but with the Delhi, it takes like 17 seconds. Oh my god.
That's fine. Archers are moving in. I mean, just look at it. It's a tickling.
They're taking no damage.
Now, you see the Keshiks aren't a bad reactionary unit. It's just Mitoe has spent the entire game throwing his mass away. He doesn't have the numbers to win these fights.
Now, there is trade behind this, but I'm wondering if there's going to be an age up coming anytime soon here from any... Oh, there we go, Kurultai. That is needed right now, desperately. Like, getting a Kurultai. The thing is, Kurultai also helps your ally, right? You also boost the damage from your ally. So all of these Delhi archers, now usually they would barely scratch these knights in the castle age, but with the Kurultai, suddenly they're able to take good fights.
It's a do-or-die moment, though, right? You move that Kurultai up, you lose a fight, you're not coming back for it. So it's something that they have to be astutely aware of. They might just take a more defensive approach at first, especially considering that after this tech up, Mitoe is also still getting stronger via this trade.
Yeah, that's the main thing right now. That's what they've got going for themselves here right now. So it's 127 villagers for SortOf and State, and then 119 plus 20 traders right now for Magic and Mitoe. Some outposts coming up here as reinforcements, and Kurultai is almost complete. If they get that in a good spot, I do hope Mitoe has a tech where the Kurultai is faster when it's picked up. That's a lot of knights right now. Oh, God.
Oh, man. Well, most of them are slow production, though, right? You saw a lot of the stables have 0 out of 1 over them, so he hasn't got that streamlined production yet. But it's maintainable is the point, and this push-in is stinging right now. The Keshiks keep trying to front line, but it gets harder and harder every time they lose these small engagements.
Kurultai hasn't been moved yet. Still in the base from Mitoe.
Not just that, Magic's in trouble. He's got, what was that, 8 villagers, I think, idle at the deer stack. They're not getting out of there. They're going to be dead, so he's going to be further behind. And these dives, they're going to get pretty painful at this stage. Last time it was an Archer army that would retreat, but these are Lancers, Castle Age Lancers, that will hang about.
Yeah, look at that. No damage coming in from them right now. Kurultai is approaching, getting closer and closer. But if that gets spotted out and they put a unit on that Kurultai, there it is. Needs to unpack. If the unit drops onto it, okay, there we go.
So they stabilize, they'll hold for the moment, but no doubt, and they felt the sting. And not just that, SortOf says, that building looks pretty good. I'm going to get one myself. Kurultai now on the way for Team SortOf. And that is definitely going to benefit them substantially here. You mentioned the Archers being able to sting harder against the Lancers, but these Lancers with a 25% damage buff are going to be insane.
Oh my. And now the Lancers are at the spot where the Kurultai is, and then that means that it's going to be a lot of idle time now being forced here, and they're going for the trade.
He's absolutely everywhere. They don't
actually, does he know?
I don't think he knows, but I don't think he cares. Look at all the location states of that. Sure, he hasn't sniffed out the trade, but he's blocking everything else.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, some Keshiks are also here able to take some good fights against Knights, but now there's a lot of idle time here on these villagers, and these were villagers that were gathering food, and food's so important when you want to make Keshiks.
I think they've done it. Like, this is the jugular moment, right? Like, the only reason this was working is because they kept headbutting Magic, who had a sizable comp. But now that they're cutting off the reinforcements, Mitoe, he can't get out of his base with the new Keshiks, which means they're getting an opportunity to outnumber in the main fight. And you can see SortOf is now caught up in that Archer count. He'll soon catch up in the tech up as well. Which, by the way, Magic still hasn't got Castle Age. What?
Like, SortOf sending Stone over to State, so State, he's going to be able to get his castle up really, really soon here.
I mean, I'm just like, I'm looking at this, like, the other thing that we have to remember, right, like I was saying, Magic's got big numbers here. SortOf's about to get that tech up on the Archers. That's a big lead already. But even if Magic now rushes the tech up, we have to remember, he's playing as the Deli. He's not instantly going to get the veterancy.
He only has a single Scholar right now, KP. One Scholar. That's, like... He's not aging up. Look at that food. He's not aging up.
Dare I say this is GG, right? Like, you feel like you're there now. Like, unless SortOf screw up twice in a substantial way, I do not see how Mitoe are meant to stabilize here.
Yeah, this is gonna be really rough. Like, just a couple of Knights here and there doing damage, and here we go. Big fight, veterancy on the Archers. Kurultai about to unpack.
They're not blocking it. They're blocking it for the second. It should be able to stabilize now, but is it going to be enough is the question mark. You have to remember, it's Castle Age versus Feudal Age Archers here. So even with the damage buff, even with the health, is it enough to push them entirely away? They've got their own. It's Kurultai. This is going to edge it out. It's going to turn it about now. Caching numbers not looking as healthy as they should be. And the heal sustain on both sides now. But the big difference really is that one side has Castle Age Archers. And you can see the number difference here. Red is getting torn a new one.
Yeah, all the Archers going down. It's just veterancy against non-veterancy on the Archers. And veterancy makes such a big difference. So much bonus HP on your Archers means that it takes so many more shots to kill them. And also the bonus damage, it's just too big there. And yeah, Magic's getting decimated.
It's like
even with the Kurultai.
I think based on rounding up, it might be one extra damage compared to the Feudal Age Archers in terms of like the extra damage they're getting from the Kurultai, right? It's pretty vile here. It makes it impossible to hold that area. Now that they've got that position, and we mentioned this when we were talking about the first Kurultai, you know, you park a position. If you lose it, yeah, you can lose the game because you no longer can access Kurultai. But if you're this strong that you can't be pushed out, that's it.
Right now, military numbers 100 to 50, and there's 30 Knights on the field right now compared to 8 Keshiks, and villagers going down as well under the TC.
Oh man, it's not just that. Like, you saw the desperation there. Mitoe, he's sending Magic food. They're trying to get him up, but what does a Castle Age tech up do for a Deli player here?
Literally nothing right now, and I feel like State, he's probably preparing for a keep drop. He did get sent a lot of stone from SortOf.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's already got one. He set up farm clusters forward of his base by the looks of it. Okay, so no keep just yet. Oh my god, this is like... I mean, you're the trader. Oh god, there it is, the keep. On the flank.
Yeah, they're playing this one safe. They're playing this one to win. House of Learning now coming up here from Magic, but House of Learning, I mean... What are you going to do? Send your villagers inside of your houses? Like,
I think it has to be about the classic, right? Like the extra damage. So if you do Lance from Lancer, you win. Or the other way you maybe go here is you spam mass men at arms. Like your opponent is mass archers, right? So he doesn't counter you. But SortOf himself is now going into MAA. You see him being queued up.
Yeah, this is gonna be really rough now.
How's
Rams
learning?
also being built forward here. Oh no, is it getting denied?
He gets
It's
it
not
up,
getting denied.
but it
It's
costs
getting
him.
up, but
Look
oh,
at the
God.
eco. Look at the eco now. 34 up for SortOf State. They're still not letting up either. Rams now being built to push deeper into Mitoe's base. Mitoe, the problem here as well, if he does somehow relocate his base as a Mongol player can, all you're going to do is show off the trade. And the trade has now been spotted by State.
It's been spotted a couple of moments ago. I feel like if SortOf just sends his archers into the trade, like the Knights so far, they've been getting chased around the trade for a long, long, long time, but if the archers go into the trade, it's over.
Run away, archery range. You'll die soon anyway. And now the Rams, they'll move in onto the TC. It looks like a sad end for Mitoe's base. They really have nowhere left to go. The sacred site time, of course, ticking down. It feels like it's 10 minutes maximum till a win, because there's no way I see them getting out to mid-map now.
Yeah, Magic, he did reach that feudal age, but it's going to be a while for him to get veterancy. Yeah. Yeah.
Feudal went so
he
long, my friend. I understand your pain. I mean, you're a Delhi player. You're 26 minutes in the game. You're still feudal age, and the game isn't over. Should you be here anymore?
He's making mangonels now. Now, mangonels, they do work nicely together with a coral tire from your ally.
Yes.
But 104 archers, when they go into split formation, you're probably not going to be able to take down too many of them.
Oh, it's 2 arrow volleys dead,
right?
This is disgusting to watch. There's no way. There's no front line. It's honestly the truest form of cannon fodder imaginable. But it's almost like these guys that you've hired to be your front line, you've laced them with bags of gold for some reason. These Kashyyyks are not cheap.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're cheaper than a knight, but it's still not something that you want to lose for basically free. Now the Rams are going to be.
This is the worst feeling, Crackety. Like, the Mangonel looks scary until you realize that unless you can kill these guys straight away, it does nothing. And now the keep drop from Stay.
That has to be it, right? Keep on the trade. He was at 30 traders, now he's at 21. He's going to be at 0 very soon if this keeps up. And the units in production, the units on the field, 24 knights, 10 more in production, 11 Kashyyyks, 6 more in production.
More Ghazi as well.
100 archers as well.
He has all the answers. He has all the. It's ridiculous at this stage. I mean, it is a horrible state of affairs, I guess you could say. And finally, we said the SortOf State, they needed to level one up, really, to fight back, being up against the wall. And there's no doubting that from start to finish, they've done it this time around. Keep going up. The far taps the hammer. And the arrows from the archers is not enough. Castle is up. Boiling oil is going to spill out. And there is no way they can get rid of this.
That's GG. Boiling oil, if it hits the archers once, they're all going to be like half HP.
That's a stinger right there. They're feeling it. They have to stand here and fight, but it's too little too late. GG gets called. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a series on our hand as finally SortOf was able to bite back.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, for Team Might and Magic, yeah, this is going to be... This was a tough one.
Like that.
This was definitely a tough one. Definitely sort of a bad state of affairs for them here now.
Yeah, good name. I like that. I didn't see. Weird that I didn't see that one as a Hom fan. Might and Magic. I mean, it sounds less stupid than mine, but I'll give that. It's a good one. And looking at this game, looking back at what it came down to, is interesting, right? It was the fact that SortOf played against the agreed meta you talked about, right? Where Mongol player builds Kashyyyks, Delhi player builds archers. Going the other way about it gave them an insane edge as they escalated these fights. And the other detail, of course, the Yam choice compared to the Silver Tree of Mitoe.
Yeah, now the thing is, they did somewhat play it in Castle Age the same way that we would think about it, because we think that, okay, once Delhi is able to get up to the Castle Age, they don't continue making archers, right? They immediately switch into full cavalry. And that's where the water, like, it still helps. And once again, we find ourselves with a little bit of a mirror matchup here.
Huh. I wonder if the final game will be a mirror as well.
That could be. Could very much be. It's going to be Achery and Mali then on Rocky Canyon. That's also an interesting civilization composition. Achery and Mali. Probably not going to see a whole lot of cattle slinging there, though. Cattle feeding, as we've had it in previous team tournaments, since that has been dealt with by the devs themselves. But this one's going to be interesting. So English China for both teams here on Hill and Dale. I'm just flabbergasted. We got another mirror here. Like it's all been mirrors right now. I'm not even sure if State and SortOf and Magic and Mitoe they talked about it previously, and like it can't be that they're training partners, right? Like they knew that they were going to be facing off against each other. It just doesn't make sense for them to train together.
Hear me out.
But
Hear
if
me
you're
out.
desperate enough with the time zones,
So hear me out. You accidentally sent your strategy notes to the wrong person, and they
oops,
neither
wrong
neither
chat.
team clocked it because they read the notes and it was the exact same notes for each of them. There you go.
That would, man.
it's it's like we haven't had this so far, right? I don't think in any other matchup has it been 4 mirrors in a row, right?
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be 5 mirrors potentially in a row.
Yeah, like it's a full mirror series. Like I don't think we've had that at all. Eminem versus SNS, mate.
Yeah,
And, oh.
I think this is a first, the best of 5 where every single game is gonna be a mirror. This must be a first. I don't recall anything like this happening before.
Well, I'm gonna bluntly say it. Despite it being a mirror series, it's actually been a treat. You see the difference, folks. If you want mirrors to not be boring, just stop playing 1v1s.
I mean, they were all played differently, right?
Yes.
In the end, like every single game, like they played differently, and um, except the first one. The first one they played very much the same. But after that, there were some key differences in how they played. On Lippany, one team went for the Giga Greed with like multiple TCs for both players, and the other team went for the all-in landmark and then actually pushed for the all-in. Then on Dry River, it was like one civilization goes cavalry, and the same civilization on the other side goes for the archers.
Yeah.
Interesting to see what we're going to be seeing here. Now, English probably going to be supplying the longbows here. Wonder if Chinese, or maybe we could see something else here. Maybe English just focuses purely on men at arms, and China goes purely onto Shuganu.
What if? Okay, no, it's wild. It's been a while, but I'm gonna echo his name into the winds and see if he appears. Mister. What if it's the double stables horseman opening from the English?
The Abbey of Kings,
Yep.
the King
Yep.
aura also heals your allies.
And of course, the knight is now buffed to heal himself. I think they also made it cheap. I think it's 300 resources before, and they put it down to, is it 240?
It's a solid 200,
Okay.
like 100
Even
each.
better.
It's really cheap. Yeah.
So I think that I genuinely believe we're looking at Abbey of not so many memes now. I mean, the Abbey itself kind of whoop-de-doo, but the mobile healing device, the ambulance, as I'm going to refer to him, is worth it here.
It's no longer going to be the Abbey of Memes. It's going to be the Abbey of Dreams, potentially.
NHS has finally arrived, baby, and it's in full swing. And we've got a bunch of Chinese transfer students across to educate themselves on our lands, because I think you're right. We could be looking at filthy Chuganu masses. But if you want to do it, you have to be fast, right? Because we are talking about Hill and Dale, a map that if you don't hit that timing, if you miss the line by a minute or two, by the time you arrive in your opponent's base, you're greeted by a wall that you're not getting by with that army comp.
Yeah, exactly. And especially against a civilization like Chinese, pressuring early is key. If you can't pressure early, that's usually where it starts getting really, really rough for you. Once it reaches like the 10-minute mark without you being able to do a lot of damage to the Chinese, you're probably looking at the Chinese with a superior army than what you have, like just when it comes to the army count.
Yeah.
And usually that's why English is so good against China, especially in the feudal age. Because the longbowmen, they have so much range, you're able to harass on the wood lines. And that's probably the most important thing. Like, when I play against China, something that I really like to do, which I think a lot of players should probably do thinking about it, is the second you send your units forward, if you go for, like, French, for example, you send a knight forward, immediately send a villager with them as well and build an outpost behind the wood line.
Agreed.
Because it gives you, like, a point to push forward from.
Yes, and the other interesting thing about the English-Chinese dynamics is, you'll be all too familiar with this, right? With a Barbican, there's a degree of pressure to gain extra value, right? You don't drop a Barbican often immediately right on top of a gold vein. You try to like drop it between a gold vein and maybe a deer stack or something. But the English is the one civ that can truly take advantage of that against you, right? Because the Barbican's going to have 8 tower range, but these Longbowmen have 7 tower range. So you're exposed.
Not just that, but with the new patch, you can actually see the attack range of your enemy's buildings. You can, with millimeter precision, you can position your longbows just out of range of the Barbican, or an enemy town center for that matter.
Now, admittedly, with these guys, right, it's almost muscle memory at this stage. They already know, but agreed, it makes it all that much simpler, especially at a quick glance if you just click on. I mean, I hesitate to think what they can do here. I mean, the other thing to keep in mind is,
It's what can they do? It's a mirror. They can
yeah,
do the same thing as
well,
well.
that's the thing. Like, but if you're late to the party per se, right? Like, if you
Yeah.
choose a slightly more greedy approach, that's the thing that I'm curious to see if Sort of and State have learned from their previous games, because every time they've lost here, they were a bit greedier, right? Magic and Mitoe were not. Like it's always, for example, the comparative has always been one player in this match does not rush a second TC, and it's Mitoe, and that has always
Yeah.
benefited Magic and Mitoe.
Exactly. I mean, both players also having, or both teams rather, having an English player on their team also means that it's very unlikely that we're going to be seeing any like Barbican rushes or anything like that. On a map like Hill and Dale could probably still be like a forward Barbican, just to defend like both bases, get a Barbican forward like in between like these openings. Now in team game Hill and Dale, I think there are there are usually more openings. Like usually on a 1v1 Hill and Dale, you have like 3 openings in your big hill. In team game Hill and Dale, I think it's like plus another one for every additional player. So so with like 3 players, it's gonna be like 5 openings. With 2 players, I think it's 4 openings.
Yeah, but the wood mass is still problematic, right? Because I think
Yeah.
sometimes you get a smaller tree line between you to share. It's almost like, so it almost feels like, it's not an equal scaling of twice the amount of players, twice the amount of wood, right?
Sometimes, depending on how the map spawns, you can get an additional like wood line behind you. Like sometimes you have like this little bit of a valley in the corner.
Yeah.
That's like also behind your like on your hill or like behind your hill. And sometimes there's an extra wood line spawning there. So spawns can definitely vary on this map in team games.
Well, we'll have to see how this is going to play out. I mean, based on the playstyles we've seen so far, it's a safe bet to say like Magic and Mitoe, when you get back to this greedy full land eco type environment, their strategy seems to work better, right? I think
Yeah.
that's something we can't ignore about Dry River, is that Dry River had the water variable. And I think that did impact the way things played out, because we didn't see this secondary TC strategy from anyone, right? If we see it again, do you immediately just begin to favor Magic and Mitoe by like, an extra 20% on the win rate chance?
The thing is, on this map, Hill and Dale, it's relatively easy to defend your base early on.
Yeah.
Especially against like these all-in kind of pushes. You're probably able to like buy yourself a good bit more time until your economy pops off. The thing that's going to be hard though is wrestling back map control, because map control is so important on this map. The devs, or just in general, the way the balance has worked recently on this map, is that you used to have a lot more gold and stone on this map, and that's been taken away. There's a lot of resource in the middle of the map, not as much stone and gold anymore on your main base. You're gonna have to move out relatively early on this map than you used to.
Well, we'll have to see if Magic and Mitoe are about to get stonewalled, or if it is going to be looking all gold for them as we get ready for game number 4. A match point situation still for Might and Magic. But SortOf have proven that they are not disarmed and not incapable of turning it about. But remember, folks, we have 2 known facts. One is that SortOf cannot afford to lose. The other is that the entire series is a mirror matchup.
And here we go. Game number 4 between Might and Magic and SortOf. Seeing both players, both teams, once again, picking the same civs. We got State on the deer early on here. Wondering if Mitoe might have done the same. Doesn't look like he's moved on to the deer so far. Yeah, he's just content with the sheep so far under his TC. And we do see what I talked about earlier, how you can get like this little valley in the back in the corner with additional wood spawns for both teams.
I remember this. I think I've even seen it. It's much rarer, but sometimes it happens in 3v3s as well.
Yeah.
I like it, by the way. Like, I don't know. I don't know if you play Stronghold, but something about it gives me Stronghold vibes. Like, a lot of those campaign missions had the farmlands behind the keep.
There's an additional deer spawn as well for Team SortOf.
What?
They get another deer spawn in there. Like, they get 3 wood lines. Enemy team gets 2.
Not only
Both
that,
get berries, but one gets a deer spawn.
No. Not only that, like they've got the deer in the back, but then check the front of their base. There's another deer stack there. Like, what is this spawn? It's almost like the game wants a 5th map.
This is still looking fairly balanced in the end. I mean, it depends on which team is going to be taking map control. Like, I
Yes.
feel like the team that's most likely to be going for map control, as we're seeing from the playstyle so far, is probably going to be Team IamMagic. So this could be favoring them to some degree here. But yeah, I mean, SortOf is going to be in a good spot here with their playstyle as well.
Well, you say it could be favoring them. But technically, like, if they are the offensive players, it favors SortOf a bit more, right? Because then they have the safe deer and berries behind if they don't want to, like, farm transition, which...
The thing is, the gold is all forward.
That's true, actually. You're right. The gold, they've got some on the flanks, which might help them because we have to remember English, Chinese, most of their comps are slow, right? So usually you were trying to brute force one direction, and especially with the way the tree line generated next to SortOf's base, it's not easy to kind of get round the backside there unless you send a villager to chop.
Exactly. Now we're getting to that point in time where the English players are probably going to be looking for an age up here soon. China usually waits a couple more seconds, like 10, 20 seconds before they age up afterwards. And here we go, Council Hall coming up. So it's not going to be an abbey of memes so far when it comes to Team IamMagic. Gonna have to see what Team SortOf is doing. It looks like actually only 2 villagers in the age up here from Mitoe. He's going for a second TC. Yeah, exactly. He's already on stone.
This is a very different approach if you consider game 1 and 2. This is not what we've been seeing. And now, instead, on the other side, we are going to get what we theory crafted by the looks of it. State is going to be opening with the Abbey of Kings.
Yeah, sending a couple more villagers now out to gold again in order to get the gold that you need for your king early on. But there's also not a bad Imperial Academy here for State. He's getting the wood, he's getting the gold, he's getting his berries, his sheep, and the stone mine as well. So it's going to get a lot of value out of that one. And now at the same time, Imperial Academy going up here. It's right next to a village.
Yes, not just... Well, I'm looking... The interesting detail is the choice to go deer here, right? Because I think we're seeing that not happen in SortOf's base. Like, could it be possible that Magic's intent is to go, like, a Castle Age rush here?
It could be. It could be, because what you do with this, if you go for deer early, is you're going to be taking in much less tax income, which is going to delay your Song Dynasty timing. But if you don't care about Song Dynasty, suddenly you're going to feel way better about this.
And it explains the rest of these dynamics, right? Because we just mentioned that it's looking like a multi-TC build out of Mitoe instead. So he's probably going to kind of lag around a feudal age a bit longer. Maybe he brings the longbow army. But, you know, you get like 20 longbows together, and they're backed up by 10 or 15 Palace Guard, the type of timing we're looking at here. It's hard to see SortOf and State having that answer unless they're all in on feudal.
Yeah, but now we see a couple of villagers going out for... Okay, yeah, this is a good Barbican. This is going to protect the wood line. It's going to protect the deer here if he was on the right-hand side, and the gold. So his resources are going to be very, very nice and protected. Magic has just reached the feudal age, so his Imperial Academy has just finished, and that's... Wait.
Yeah, that's a Barbican.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
that's a lot of villagers. That was so many villagers.
I was wondering too. I was like, you know, we're not on a 1v1 map, right, buddy? We're not doing what I think we're doing here. No Barbican rush attempts, but instead, that's going to secure the
English player.
Hey, that's why he had so many villagers.
A recipe for disaster, I say.
Like, well, what's the inspirational speech you give at the beginning of that? Men, 95% of you will not make it back alive. That's all I've got. That's the inspirational speech. Off you go.
Only care about the rest. Yeah. Well, it looks like Magic, he's going to go for that standard 2TC song play here. So he already has his villagers out on stone now. Is going to be going for that second TC. At the same time, State, he's also gone for a second TC. He now has moved out to stone. And the king is in queue for him right now. Wonder if the king is going to be able to get a lot of damage in here, considering that the king does not have as much armor as a knight early on. He only spawns with 2 armor instead of 3. Now, he can heal himself, so he can stick around. He can be really, really annoying. I hope he sends him immediately into like the wood line of the Chinese player. You don't want to use him against the English player, mainly because the English is just going to be able to use the short bows in order to harass him every now and then. Definitely. And there we go. That's a very far forward second TC placement, but it does give him a lot of resources there.
Yeah, it blocks out any early longbow players, especially, right? Because you won't be able to walk past this TC. And you know, to your point, all I'm hearing is that the king is a better counter to the Chinese than knights. I mean, you know, someone shoots you, you're already going to take most of the damage anyway, so who needs extra armor?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really, really nice when it comes to just running in, killing a villager. Now, the one thing that it doesn't have going for itself is the damage, right? Yes. It does like 16 damage, I think.
So how many hits is it? Like with the sword out, so 16. So is it 3 hits if you get the lance, or is it 4?
I'm
It
not
might be
sure
4.
how much damage a charge even does. I think you might need a total of like 4 hits overall in order to just get a villager down.
That can't be right,
It's
right?
a lot of hits in comparison to like what a normal knight needs.
Yeah, it's annoying because he's like, we don't care about your sword right now, mate. We need to get the pole arm out. He looks so. There's something so snobbish about. I don't know if it's just the giant golden crown above his head or the way he holds his sword, but it's almost like this sword is gold encrusted. I can't drop it. I need to like very fragilely carry it around. You know what I mean? Like, oh,
Yeah,
look
you
at
can
my
tell by the
sword.
You can tell by the looks of a sword that that's like the multiple years of salary for like a normal peasant.
It's
for the
crazy
English.
because like you saw that zoom in, right? He clearly mugged a Langsnecht. Why does he not have crit
Yeah.
damage? Just
Don't give him
like
any ideas,
swings
KP.
around.
Don't give him any ideas.
No, it'd be great. Hear me out. Like the first attack, he does a cleave, but he then decapitates his horse, and he's an infantry unit now. Oh man.
Oh god.
They should get me in the design team.
Mistakes been made. And every single game it happens to him. So unfortunate.
Yeah. Like it's like you get across the map quickly, but then you're an infantry unit. Hey, hit me up, dev team. I got ideas.
Okay, both Chinese players now on their second TC.
Oh hey, honey. What's the lance? What the no, vodka, you failed me. Okay, so that was half his health. So I think it's like 24 or maybe 26. That looked like that was more than half HP on that villager.
We can just hover over his HP and we should get the stats,
Yeah,
right?
if we check the villager that's injured, like it looked like that was more than half HP. No, they're not him, vodka. We don't care about him. All right. King's.
There we
like,
go. Lance is 24.
Okay. Oh, thank you. We can see. There we go. Yeah, it's 24. I was talking about looking at the villager. All right. Like we're getting a statement from the what's the word? The victim of the crime. That's really good with a
scout up
scout.
as well.
Like you can just lance charge, tap, lance charge, tap, dead.
Yeah, it's a little bit of idle time every now and then, and that piles up. So it's only 200 resources and the idle time that you get out of that. Like look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, but now
5.
look at my
That's
health.
already like 30 resources right there in terms of idle time. But now King's Palace coming out from Mitoe. Really good timing considering he went for a second TC. That's a really good timing.
Meanwhile, of course, went the 2 TC song, and State. I mean, it's not made his way up. Yeah, it's just
yeah.
It's 2 TC.
I mean, the king delays you a little bit, but he should be able to age up relatively soon here now as well.
I feel like he should be there now, but maybe the key detail to highlight here is he went for a very far forward TC. I don't think he even had wheelbarrow when he pulled those villages, by the looks of it.
True, walking time makes a big difference as well.
So Mitoe was like close to a minute more efficient, I'd expect here. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we're still waiting another 20 seconds before we see a tech up from State.
Yeah, it could be. And also, it makes a lot of difference. Like you're sort of like distracting yourself, right? Trying to micro that knight efficiently, that king, and might mean that you don't pay as much attention to your eco, to your macro balance behind it.
It was almost like Mitoe knew this play was coming by the way he formulated his TCs as well, right? This knight, if he comes in range at all, the secondary TCs, he's in range of all 3. He will die immediately.
Yeah, and SortOf's actually going to be aging up here before State does, and astronomical clock tower, and immediately with the barracks. That's going to be mass palace guards, but Relic's also getting... I mean, he can't make mass palace guards because Mito's just going to make knights immediately.
Yeah, Mitoe, like, he has such an edge, right? By the time you're taking up a state, by comparison, Mitoe could easily have the first wave of knights out and the second wave half complete. It looks like he's building that now, as well as the fact that he's going for the monastery opportunity, while map control hasn't really been decided yet.
If you're able to feed your Chinese player 3 relics for Yuan Dynasty and then pagodas, that makes a big difference. That's like having like 5 relics inside a Regnant's Cathedral when it comes to the income.
They got the scout.
That's a lot. That also makes a big difference, not knowing like where you can strike with the knight.
And well, you could argue, well, SortOf could send his scout. Yeah, you're not doing that, guys. That's like blindfolding your friend and then giving him directions. It's not fun to have to do that.
Side note, once again, we do see these like sort of aggressive walls or like really, really far forward walls coming out from State and SortOf. I like that a lot. Like, gives you so much more access to resources early on here.
I think that this map actually favors their playstyle because of this, right? Like on Dry Arabia, they actually take the safe corners and they segment the map. But the corner's already safe in Hillendale, right? So your only play is to head out and create these segments in the mid-map like they're doing. Guess I'm staying
Just aging. Yeah, just aging coming in here right now. I mean, State, he's now in Castle Age, so the king has more HP and does more damage now as well.
I don't think he's aging or Asian.
He's losing the king. Oh. That was unnecessary.
It was the sword. It
Poor
was too
King.
heavy, slowing him down. You know,
Yeah.
arthritis
Something
in his
like
old
that.
age. The
Oh,
old man didn't
SFB
have
is
the
already
moves.
out. And
Yeah.
a second one in queue. That's gonna be an imposing army with an SFBs, for
Now,
sure.
the healing from the king applies to the siege as well, right?
It should.
Yeah, that's
All
frustrating.
military units, I believe.
That is really frustrating. Like, you know, you won't even get the opportunity to chip down. Also, especially against the astronomical clock tower with their units, right? Normally, you say it takes like an extra hit from a spring to counter. You could be looking at an additional hit because if you don't instantly tap them down, the knight's going to have this supplemented healing between your attempts.
Yeah, exactly. And Blacksmith coming in now. Lots, like, both Chinese players are just going to go for infantry here from the looks of it. Lots of palace guns coming out from Magic. Mitoe is supplying both knights and crossbows so far. I like the combination here, but yeah, I wonder if they scouted out the nest of bees there with that scout from Mitoe, because
What?
the nest of bees definitely. Oh, what?
What are you doing
Uh-huh.
here? Like, my
These are 3 villages, not just one. It's 3 villages.
and they're
there.
both his walls. That's the best part about this. He's going to rectify, though. I do love that, though. I don't mind that idea, because two-player Hillendale is so much bigger, and if you're relying on palisades, like one palisade wall, your opponent could easily get through before you're in position to defend.
Yeah. Palace Guard numbers still climbing, now mixing in some Spearmen as well. I think he actually canceled a lot of the Palace Guard numbers now for Spearmen. I think he had like 8 in queue, and now he's
Interesting.
shifted into Spearmen there now. Relics are being picked up now.
I guess Spearmen are
Quite sure by which
torch
player.
through as well. Relics should be being picked up right now, I'd imagine by Mitoe. Like,
Yep.
I don't think there's as much map control there. State might be wiggling one back on the south side a little, as I'm seeing a slow mover. Yeah. the
Both ways
wall
are going for
hostage.
him.
No, come on, get closer. Get away from your walls. There is an attempt to get back into the base just south of this by one of State's monks, by the looks of it, who yoinked away a relic.
Important to note that these gates actually have lower HP than they used to. They got nerfed from like 1500 HP to 1250.
Oh, they found him.
Oh.
No.
No. Oh. Okay.
That was
Always
way
the
too close.
clench in these situations.
Yeah, but it's more clenched these days because they added this sound effect, right? So he's like, oh, and you know. This,
Nest of
however,
Bees
is
moving
not.
forward now. Yeah, that
Oops.
not close at all.
Spears need to get here to protect
Another
that next turn.
monk. They're sending so many monks into the midfield right now.
Nest the bees. Oh, that flurry!
Oh,
What a
3
dodge!
of them!
What a dodge out of Magic!
Oh, that could have been so much worse. 3 nests of bees. That is a no-go zone right now.
That was a big brain attack round, followed by a it wasn't big brain because check my god reactions. If that had been clicked on targets Magic walked in, he probably loses half the mass. But the fact that Magic insta-reacted and it was an attack round preemptively is why he walks away mostly unscathed.
Yeah, I mean, if that connected, that will just be massive. Now Chinese players setting up their farm economy, wondering if SortOf has done the same yet, if he's also going for his granary transition now in the meantime. Lots of infantry out on the field here right now for Magic. Not so sure about the military force from Mitoe, though. He's got mostly crossbows out, but not too much else. Both players actually adding Springles now. Only SortOf on the opposite side has Springles. That's a...
Crossbows are getting freebies there, though. That's a pricey loss. What was that, like 800 resources at least?
Yeah, quite a bit. And vision as well with the scout going down, but SortOf is pushing towards it with
What?
4 nests of bees and 2 Springles. That's a large army.
Carnation. That's a large wall, is what I'm looking at right now. Like,
Yeah, that's how they split up the map. That's how they do it. But at the same time, infantry here in the middle.
that might mean.
And this is not a fight that State can take. I feel like SortOf needs to help his mate there. And
We need to re-wall really fast here. That is not what I call really fast there. But luckily for them, the Nest of Bees threat is still fresh in the mind of Magic, so no attempt to dive.
Yeah, I need to be really, really careful here. And more Springles are getting added now from both players on the team of Might and Magic. SortOf still the only one to make Springles. But to be fair, like he's the only one that needs Springles. He's the one that supplies the Nest of Bees after all. And I mean, the Springles from China, they're something else. It takes like 3 shots to take them down.
Infuriating unit to deal with, and Mitoe, this is ambitiously wide. It's kind of like you've got a shotgun. You'll get one good shot off, but then, oh, good. No. Nerf this, please. Please. What? Why is it this way, Crackety? Why is that unit like that?
No comment.
Yeah, I bet no comment, you Chinese man.
No, I was about to say something mean, but
It's you know what it is. I think the developers were really big fan. They're really big fans of Nicolas Cage's work. I mean, who isn't? And I think
I was gonna say the developers just hate us. That's why they do it.
Oh, okay. I was gonna go the other way. They've watched that Nicolas Cage movie too many times, the one with the bees.
Not the bees.
Not the bees. I want to cut. Can someone go make a custom mod that just plays that noise every time like replace the Nest of Bees firework noise?
Oh, I wish we had mods like that worked in ranked. Like in Age of Empires 2, you get these mods where like the scout has the head of doubt instead.
Dude, they just need to hire Nicolas Cage to record that. They would make so much money. I would buy it. You could price it at $10 and I would buy it.
We get an in-game store for something like that.
Yeah, it's almost like, you know what would be great? What about a freemium model for Age of Empires 4? I mean, just crazy idea. I definitely haven't said this
Crazy
for like
idea.
a year
Has
and a
never
half.
been, never been suggested before. Oh, this keep hurts a lot. Like, there's so much map control. SortOf is doing an excellent job here when it comes to, like, just carving out the map with these walls, with the keep. And he's even going for, like, multiple layers of that wall on the top side. And
yeah,
it means that it's going to be incredibly tough here now for Team IamMagic in order to get any map control now. Well, it's also stone walls. It's not just palisades, stone walls as well. And, like, with the siege, it feels like it's just untouchable. SortOf has 6 sprinkles after making 4 Nest of Bees. Like, that's so dirty. That is so dirty.
It's not just that. Look at the comps, right? There's a lot more Lombos in the field for state because of those Nest of Bees, right? Meanwhile, if you're on the other team, you have to answer with raw crossbows to solve the heavy armor issue, right? Like, this is so vile, man. This one unit is forcing weird transitions in comparison. Outpost.
I'm just saying, as honorable Chinese mains, we don't make siege compositions like that. We play fair. We make 200 units and ram you down. But this is
of course the mini Nest of Bees.
Man.
Oh god, it's getting worse. There's a
Berkshire. Oh my god, they're gonna cut. Hey, this might. Okay, they're gonna put it in the middle probably, like to secure gold.
Right?
Where is it?
South side? Is it going south side? No.
Okay. All right. I don't like that anymore.
I mean, he's getting 4K gold out of it, Crackedy. Do you like 4K gold?
I'd rather have 8K gold, but at the same time, wait, what's that? Okay, that's a keep. And they already got the other one.
Don't look at the vision, or Crackedy is going to receive more nerfs. That is basically seeing any attempt to flank south side whatsoever.
Yeah, and they're also going to be seeing that the walls have in place at the top side, because if they click that, they can see it right now. They have it active right now. They can see that there are walls on the top side that have in place.
Now, do you suspect they're trading, though? Because, like, walls like that, normally you think, trade?
Trade, question mark?
Maybe. It's weird civs to see doing it, right? But it's possible. Tech ups are coming out, though.
I've seen it today. I've seen today a player with China going for 1 TC into mass trade on
I like that, you know, like so I talked
it was refreshing. Well, it was very refreshing to see.
I talked to Recon about this, like you don't know if HRE, start doing HRE, and then like the logic was, if you don't, you shouldn't be doing it. No one expects you to do it, right? so you kind of get away with it. You know, it's that classic. You know, when someone's like, "That's not optimal gameplay," it's like, well, I still kicked your ass with it, right?
Exactly, that's the thing. Berkshire are also coming out, and this is just a better position for Berkshire, right? It's in the middle of the map. It gives you more map control, and this is just so important for Team SortOf right now. Like they're just carving up the map so efficiently. There's a single ram here, but that ram is going to take a while in order to get through these walls. And right now, there's no economy behind these walls. It's like an objective, but it's also no objective at the same time at all.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you how rough the position in Mitoe Magic's look in this one. My daughter just walked into the room to offer assistance. I mean, I don't think she's at that age where she'd come in as player 3, but it almost feels like they need a third player, right? Because although things maybe look even when you look at military and eco, it's the way the map is being carved up that concerns me.
Yeah, and we talked about it earlier. Like on this map control is incredibly important. Like all the resources that you need in the late game are in the middle of the map. Now, Team Magic and Mitoe, they still have a good avenue when it comes to gold on the bottom side of the map. But the top side, it's going to be really tough to take back. And also, there's a Great Wall Gatehouse there in the middle of the map, which is, let's just say, it's going to take a while to push back that one.
You know what? They're actually lucky that Gaia is on their side. Because those deer, right? I think if those deer weren't there, that would have been close enough to block the entire choke. You're seeing it now, right? Like, you would 100% move that 3 tiles forward if it wasn't for Bambi.
Yeah, it's the oh, what the?
It's not a
This
problem.
is Age of Empires 2.
It's contained. The issue is contained, Crackety.
The Man-at-Arm wanted to leave as well, but he's getting trapped there with 4 sweaty palace guards.
He's like, wait, what do you
Getting
mean? What do you
taken
mean?
to Ram Ranch.
I thought we no man left behind. No, you're the bait. Yeah, but I thought I was getting at. No, you're not. just sort of like delete them or take out a wall, please.
They're just standing there menacingly.
That's free
firing.
population wasted, man.
It's not efficient, dude.
It always looks disgusting to me watching multiple hand cannon slits firing out Chinese cubes. But they've got a mini Gatling gun in there. Trade coming out. Oh my dude. How are you meant to anti-siege this? Look at Blue's Springled army.
It's so disgusting. I'll say that much. It's absolutely fucking disgusting when you look at the 6 Springles, all Clock Tower Springles. It takes so many shots to take them down.
Even Trebs don't feel safe. It's 16 tower range compared to 12. Because remember, we are sitting in Imperial and looking pretty.
Oh, wait. What's with the wall? The wall on the right side. There was a gate being built right as the Ram was about to hit it.
Wait, what?
Is it open?
No. He's fine. He's fine.
Okay, he cancelled. He cancelled it immediately.
Of course, the natural counter to mass Rams, Lombos.
It's working.
I mean, those walls take so long to break.
Oh no, the Sprinkles get taken down by the keep as well.
Wait, they have no anti-siege. They have 1 Springled. I mean, at least they got a Berkshire, right?
Now they used to have 6, but now it's
Let us in.
It's not looking good.
Nesta Bees.
Oh, there's a
One to
bees.
the gold patch. Pulls back just in time.
Could have been a lot more dead villagers, but the main issue is like you can't fight back. Like you want your melee infantry to take down the Springles. You can't. Look at that. Even the fire lances here.
Oh yes,
Are they
follow
gonna
me
go for it?
under the even stronger Nesta Bees that is sitting on a wall.
It's like a choke point there as well between the wall and the keep.
But wait. The flank attack. Fire Lancers are in. They've broken through. There's no stone walls
There's
here.
no stone walls.
Your army is completely displaced. There's no way to keep this up. Berkshire goes down heavy under the villagers,
get a
and
deco.
Magic gets to go everywhere. Walls going up.
Into the... Oh, never mind. It's walled.
But that is tight. That is way too close. They just about cover it. Stay with the magical fingers is able to block Magic out.
Yeah, they have to retreat there. I mean, if that was kept open, or if Magic immediately sent a unit forward to block any walls from coming in, it's hard to predict, right? Oh, keeps on
Shenanigans on the sides. These Fire Lancers, though, they're doing a damn good job here. Return of fire.
Yeah, I mean, every now and then they just come back and they charge in, get a lot of these really, really big shots in. At the same time, though, it looks like SortOf he had to pull back with his siege, and that gives Mitoe an opportunity to siege down the keep there. And now the Fire Lance is coming as well, and the Fire Lance, if the siege's out of position, which it might be...
No, it gets in just in time. Clown car shuffling, they get through the passe wall, but that could be torched. Instead, Magic's going to dance a little. He's not sure if he's coming or going. He could burn the keep right now. In fact, he might as well, because he's dead in this area either way. But instead, he attacks the infantry. A dive now coming out. Mitoe trying to assist him. Siege is taking down the castle in the meantime. The Fire Lancers are going to assist. Nesta Bees wasting their time on small clumps will now turn their attention towards the men-at-arms. But the Berkshire is being repaired, albeit slowly.
Yeah, the army, though, right now, from Magic and Mitoe, it has been taken out completely. Or, well, not completely, but, like, mostly, to the point where it's not going to be efficient for them anymore to stick around there. Has to retreat now. Springled, one Springled does survive there.
They're raw outnumbered. And also the other concern here is like the Fire Lancers, they look cool when used right, but when you see the hit on your economy from building that many, it's not easy to just boom them up again, right? You're burning your resources fast to do this. Fire Lancers in.
They cost a lot of food, but they're getting a lot of value here right now.
The drive-by maybe not the best way to go.
Oh, the siege!
He gets
Finally!
the bees! He cuts them off. Nesta Bee's going to go down. Sprill's also being found in the back foot. And Pink at least holding Blue at bay on the front side. Sure, another costly loss of army for Fire Lancers, but they get their value in return.
And now on the hand cannoneers as well. And this is so big for them right now. If they're able to take down the Great Wall Gatehouse as well,
feeling it.
Finally, Mitoe's infantry is going to be able to push out. He's been stuck inside his base for so long with all of these, like, quote-unquote defensive buildings.
Wow.
Keeping him there. Finally, he's able to get out.
And he built a Berkshire, right? It's not like this is cheap from a wind guard. So, you know, it's been a pricey escalation. It hasn't been that long English Imperial is beneficial. It's been kind of stalemated compared to States, but really the difference maker for me has been Magic with these Fire Lancer plays. He's making them dance and sing to his tunes. And we have to remember, the Chinese component on the other side has been going Palace Guard and Mass Siege. He doesn't have the population to do exactly the same that Magic has here.
Yeah, and now also we got 5 trebuchets. Well, 4 trebuchets, but like these trebuchets, they are English. They attack quite a bit faster.
Challenge projectiles as well, right? Like mini Mangonel shots to the face.
If he's got the upgrade.
He hasn't got the upgrade.
Yeah.
Come
that
on,
one
man.
Longbowman. That one Longbowman just
we'll
took
get
100-kilogram projectiles to the face and like...
We'll get him soon, Crackety. Soon. We might lose the trebuchets soon. I think this is the time to pack and run.
Yeah, definitely the time to pack and run right now. Palace Guard's also moving forward. Pack and run maybe a little bit too late here.
We need to reform the troops.
Trying to buy the time.
Mitoe has a bunch dancing left, right, and center. Palace Guard's still trying to flank attack, but keeps up blocking him out. And he needs to protect the trebs. Looks like 2 are going to be sacrificed here. No way out for them. Fire Lancers, well, this is where things get worrisome. If you can't get enough of a punch out of the first few waves, your opponents wise up, right? They start building the stone walls that not only stops you from going Fire Lancers, it also screws over Palace Guard plans.
Yeah, exactly. And now we already see the silhouettes of these large stone walls coming out here from State.
What is that wall? Wait. It's a bait opening, Crackety. You want him to come in and die.
Nest of Beast just casually tanking a lot of these fire shots.
As you do.
A lot of them. A lot of them.
It's
it
still
doesn't
alive.
care.
Like, come on. Clock tower, guys. Wait, well, no, sort of. What are those villagers doing in the Great Wall Gatehouse?
Repairing on the field.
Well, we've seen a focus on bees, so this is the story about the birds and the bees, guys. When a mummy villager and a dad, no, never mind, they got killed.
All right, trebuchets once again trying to home in onto that Berkshire Palace. Now, the fire lances that we've seen here so far, I want to say that they tried to get like some good damage in, but try is all that they did, really. They burned down the Berkshire once, which got repaired relatively quickly. I mean, looking at the eco, they can afford losing a couple of villagers here just trying to burn down the traps.
They need a little bit more melee to shake it up. Definitely a lot of villagers being burnt to get those walls up, but I think to your point, like the Fire Lancers, they had these cool-looking moments when they first were revealed. But every time we've seen them since, they've looked weaker and weaker.
And also, like, State is the only one that has, like, a good mass of longbowmen right now when it comes to the English players here. And the longbows, later on in the game, they get the tech where they, for a period of time, get, like, 70% increased attack speed.
The volley. It's disgusting.
Yeah. And once you get that there... Wait, what the...
That's
3,500 food.
Well, I mean, he's had
right.
like half his army was like longbows, right? So he wasn't running out anytime soon. Yeah, Magic, that doesn't look impressive in comparison.
Yeah, that's a lot of food. I mean, English players, right? Just English player kind of things. And that's going to allow SortOf to just pump out a lot more hand cannoneers and Palace Guards as well. Look at that, the longbowmen. With the increased attack speed, they're able to take down all of the crossbowmen really, really fast here from Mitoe.
Yeah, and you're seeing a very big change, and a difference, rather, in the way that both teams approach these fights. And that's the reason why the comps are so different between the English players, is Mitoe is essentially having to do everything, right? That's not to discredit what Magic doing, but it's the strategy. Magic is meant to flank and kill, right? With all these mass fire lances. But that means that Mitoe has to be the front line, the back line, and the supporting arc of Siege, all as one player.
Yeah, Magic is just desperately trying to get into the base of their opponent, but every time he runs in, he just loses his military, and that's just because State and SortOf, they've been playing this so solidly. The way that they split up the map, the way they put up their walls, the way that they're defending each time, and like where they have their units. And they're also setting up trade. Like they carved up the map now in a way that allows them to trade. We can see already 8 traders for them right now. Yeah, that went up quite quickly, their numbers, and I'm scared right now. I'm scared right now that this game, either it's gonna end in the next 10 minutes or it's gonna end in the next 2 hours.
Oh, KP, the team games are like much quicker than the 1v1s. Not according to the mirror matchups, they're not.
Oh, hand cannon is here doing such a great job. The Chinese hand cannon is just having so much range here. I'm sure the Englishman arms are going to be great, like absolutely amazing against the Palace Guards, but with the range, 5.5 tiles.
And this goes back to what I was highlighting, the comp that Mitoe's forced to run. He doesn't counter these hand cannoneers. He does not have a single longbowman.
Yeah. Definitely feels like Mitoe needs some of his own hand cannoneers here if he wants to like do something against that. Now, English hand cannoneers with the added attack speed, also really, really solid, but feels like you can't really invest into that high-value unit when there are so many longbows out on the field.
Well, it's the movement. Like, you can't easily gap close, right? And you're at a range disadvantage. It feels like almost just like you have to go longbows, even if it doesn't feel good. It at least isn't a bad unit against Palace Guard, right? Because Palace Guard comparatively have one less ranged armor than other units of its type.
Yeah, and then the men-at-arms from the English having 2 more.
Yeah.
Means that the Palace Guards are not going to be able to do like you look at the Palace Guards hitting the men-at-arms from the English player, doesn't do a lot. Then the English men-at-arms also have more attack speed, like quite a lot more. That's a lot of men.
That's a hell of a lot in STVs.
Forget what I said about the longbow numbers. They're gone. They're all gone.
Yeah, but now you've got room to make more crossbows. Stay smiling. I don't think it hurts him here, right? It's almost like the longbows had served their purpose now. Blimey, though. The thing that worries me is what you're seeing from SortOf and State is like a concentrated effort down the center, right? Meanwhile, Magic and Mitoe are playing opposite sides of the map here. That's a very dangerous game when you're converging towards the center like this.
Yeah, exactly. And feels really tough right now for Magic to like push under this Berkshire. I mean, oh god.
You should be able to insta-blitz them. Yeah, wow, beautifully timed by Magic. He waited for the boiling oil and then commits in. Nestabee's also following this up. The flurry attack, a choke point that State realistically does not want to be in here. Okay, let's keep coming through, though.
That's a lot of damage here.
I mean, that's so bloody chunky. Nestabees are going to get through them, but the Berkshire remains. And a
Reboldican. Yeah, that's the word.
The Reboldi boys are here. Effective against the Fire Lancers as long as you've got a front line, but if you expose yourself, of course, and make quick work of Siege. But the Nesta Beasts, speaking of quick work of Siege, they're gone.
Yeah, 2 remaining right now, but the men-at-arms are hot on the heels, but now with the choke point, could probably be able to defend them. Yeah, they're going to be defended there, but Berkshire survives, and this is just so tough to get the Berkshire down. The keeps usually need stone to be repaired, but landmark keeps only need wood.
And you know what makes this grimmer is the fact that this push has been halted. You're under the Berkshire. You're being flurried by arrows. Meanwhile, your teammate is losing the fight in the north. More ground being gained by SortOf. He's breached the keep. He's pushed towards the high ground. Now, for the moment, Mitoe will hold him back, but I'm starting to feel like Mitoe needs some assistance here. He's losing that one-on-one.
Yeah, and behind that, the Great Wall Gatehouse is also being repaired now by SortOf. So once that gets back up, the middle is once again going to be under firm hold here from Team SortOf. And yeah, it looks like we might actually be nearing a game number 5 the way this looks right now.
Definitely trending that way right now. These men-at-arms, even the Nesta Bees, aren't able to make short work of them anymore. You see how long they last. When they dive, he's like, well, if I get rid of one of them, price exchange ain't too bad. If I get 2, I'm ahead.
Yeah, I mean, men-at-arms are just so cheap for State to pump out in the later stages of the game. And oh, God.
It's the Ram galore, man. It's like Mitoe's army. He hasn't got that many men-at-arms in the grand scheme of things, right? So these Rams are gradually the game winners. Hirelance
is trying to burn down the stone walls. Actually gets them to like half HP, but they're just being built so fast. I'm not even sure why they implemented the fact that you can tank unfinished stone walls. Like, no units gets them down anyways.
To make you feel like you're doing something worthwhile. You know what? Like, Rams as well.
I'm not feeling it.
I know people hate Rams, but like, I find... Am I the one that finds it dumb that their bonus damage against walls is so low? Like I get it against Palisades.
It got buffed multiple times.
Yeah, but
it got buffed multiple
right?
times.
Like, isn't it? I thought it was extra 100 or 200. It's 200 okay, but I think it's 100.
I think it buffed to 200, like from 100 to 200.
I hope
maybe.
It is. Like, I feel like it should be. It doesn't get that extra buff against Palisades, but it does get that extra buff against stone walls. You know what I mean? Like, that's the weird dynamic for me with that. I think Rams to me have always been sensible against Palisades, but they always seem like kind of hilarious against stone walls. You have to neglect a stone wall for a very long time.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like
which is not happening.
Magic is starting to get really, really serious about pushing in finally on that one side. Once again, is he with some bombard cannons? It's just getting repaired at the same time.
Well, it has to
Bombard's
be.
taking a while.
Like, look what's happening behind it. It's the outpost shooting cannon shots here. Needs to be targeting the villages, though.
It's getting out repaired. It's actually getting out repaired between
because Magic is actually microing this every time. He's like, oh, repair. Oh, repair. It's a clock tower bombard. No, right? Like, no.
It's normal bombard. Like, it's a normal
How
bombard.
is that a normal bombard, Crackety? What?
I don't know. It is. Look, it's a normal
But
bombard,
how?
right?
Like, the numbers, man. Make it make sense.
It's Siege Force. It's the university upgrade. It makes your siege be like invincible. It's just another wall behind.
Oh, yeah. The walls work really well. Let's build another one.
Oh, God.
I think Magic figured it out, right? When he was playing towards the center, he was losing the game. Now that he's fully on the flank, it seems detrimental because it's a tight choke point. But State feels discombobulated. He wasn't prepped for this flank attack. He wanted the fight near the Berkshire.
Trade behind that still going strong. It looks like Magic and Mitoe have also just started setting up their trade. Now, the issue is Mitoe. He's still only palisade walling that side. He needs stone walls there. Stone walls
he needs them everywhere, not just on the north side. He's being pushed in the center of his base as well. Like, there's a trade-off here. It's really a race to see which English player dies faster. Everyone.
The villagers are going for it.
But still, these bombards do not die fast. One is going to fall. They'll give chase onto the second. They won't be able to reach the boiling oil safety range, so it looks like the pushback will be successful. And the reason is Magic, like, you know, he has the siege production there. But I believe his stables are still at home.
It's so rough right now. Yeah, I mean, we can look at the resource of all the players. They all have a lot of resources, just military being pumped out right now.
We should have expected this. When we saw English Chinese versus English Chinese, we had
it's
hopes of
gonna be a
accurate
late
play.
game.
Yeah. But still, the trade only exists on one side. Magic is fixing that now, however. He's set himself up for this, but remember, for him, trade is a lot more exposed than it is for the other team. And by the way, that they still haven't repaired that, because the Great Wall Gatehouse, as I'm sure Crackety is sighing and aware of, you cannot repair with more than like 8 people.
You can if you don't finish up the wall. If you don't finish up the wall, you can actually surround it.
Got it. But like, if you, so the way it works, like, and it's also, it's weird because they don't respond to automatic behavior. It's like, if you bring 16, you'd have to manually walk 8 of them to the other side of the wall, right?
Yeah.
So bad.
It's spaghetti code.
I mean, I've watched like 20 villagers stand there staring before, like just trying to look busy, you know what I mean? Like, I'm working. Sure.
You see me working, right?
Yeah,
I'm looking at stuff.
I'm a silhouette. Yeah, so we only got like half the batch of hammers, so we're taking it in turns.
If I look at the wall menacingly enough, it'll repair itself.
That's what it is, right? It's the bureaucracy. These are all foremen.
Oh man, the wall holds from State, and this is honestly just so frustrating to push in. Every time you push in, the wall just gets repaired, another wall gets put up.
I do think they haven't done anything about Magic's position though, right? Because you're seeing he's setting up multiple clusters of siege workshops, so he just pivots his pressure point each time. And while that's happening, you're seeing Mitoe gradually move out of his base again. He's starting to stabilize a bit, but SortOf is not letting up on that north side.
Yeah, I feel like Magic and Mitoe, what they could potentially look to do is just make like 10 rams on every single side, but they have the entire rest of the military somewhere else. And you're always going to have to either pull villagers or military to deal with these rams. And if you pull villagers, it's going to take quite a while, because for siege works, rams actually take forever to get torched down by the villagers. If you pull military, you might not have them where you need them.
Good move there coming out from Magic, using the walls against his opponent. And also, the Berkshire is firing at the units on the wall. Even easier, right? Because they're taking that 66% reduced damage. But, you know, we are seeing a situation where Magic is starting to dry up. You see his gold not looking as impressive as it once was. Wood especially is suffering, especially when you consider he keeps throwing 500 or 1k at a time over to Mitoe.
Yeah, I mean, Mitoe, he does get a lot of passive gold income. Oh, God. Battle Scouts are going to be in now, and very likely in UN Dynasty, it's going to be so tough to chase them. And this is why Stonewalls are just necessary. At this point, like with the amount of units that are there, in theory, sort of, if he just picks up 20 units, like use 20 units, they can just run in.
This is so bad to watch. This is what the weakness of the English in this matchup, right? Men at Arms is your bread and butter late game, but to your point around the Rams, that's like the worst unit to be chasing them down.
4,000 food being sent to Mitoe from Magic now.
That's
Earlier
right.
we saw State slinging the Chinese player, but here the Chinese player is getting some slinging from the English player.
That was interesting from Magic. Instead of insta-sniping down the Robotic when he backs up, remember with the Robotic when it has very little ranged armor, right? Like it's actually good against melee units, but it's almost like it's a very easy thing to forget because it goes against how all the other Siege functions.
The thing is, it also takes very little damage from archers and crossbows in the late game. Once you get like Siegeworks, oh, that's a lot of market. Once you get Siegeworks upgrades in, it gets like plus 10 pierce armor. So archers suddenly don't do a lot of damage against it anymore. Crossbows also do very little damage. Only hand cannons really do a lot of damage to it.
But that was the thing, like he was standing on the wall, right? He had extra range, and you saw him run away. It's like, oh, Roboticon coming. It's just one of those things that's kind of easy to forget. It's like, no, actually, if you target that thing right now, it's going to disappear.
And the wall gets built again.
Why, like, how are they still... they sort of has moved through the entirety of their base towards the south side now of Magic's.
Oh, so tough to push in right now. It looks like at this point, SortOf now also went for Fire Lance of his own. And he's the only player right now who it feels like is going to be able to push into the base of their opponents. But if he gets like 10, 20 Fire Lances in and he starts taking down villagers, it's going to get really, really ugly here for Team Might and Magic.
It's already feeling ugly by the fact that they're blocked on trade, right? They've been doing a little bit of it, but now that it's known about, and also with the access to the south side, the way that we just saw sort of run across to the back of their base, they have to react to that. And I do believe right now Mitoe is building up stone walls to protect their trade, but the difference is, like, you know, you're in the infancy of that trade. Your opponents, they're fully flourished, baby.
Yeah, it looks like now SortOf is just pulling everything that he has onto the top side military-wise. The villagers here, once again, burning down the Rams.
Oh, the wall.
Oh, wait.
He just about gets
it there. Man, stone walls. Why can units even attack that? If, like, 50 units there aren't able to burn it down in time, why is that a thing? Why can units even attack them at all?
Because you have to have hope in things, Scrappity. Like I have to hope that one day the Chinese Nesta Bee is going to get nerfed, right?
It feels like it was balanced around Fire Lancers, I'll just say that much.
Like, oh, Fire Lancers got... Oh, whoa. Like, instead of just nerfing the Fire Lancers, let's, like, just nerf everything at once. These Rams... Oh, God, this is pain. For an English player, this isn't just your food now, this is your goal.
Yeah, and look at that. Spearmen take forever to kill him. This is Rams in the late game. It feels like Rams also, like their health pool and the way they take damage is balanced around Knights with how much damage you need to take them out quickly.
Well, my issue is, like, I don't mind the idea of a lot of these units kind of sucking against it, but I feel like Springles at least should be the solution, right? But they absolutely are not.
I feel like all melee units should absolutely destroy Rams, and all ranged units should do no damage at all, like either one or the other.
So, wow, I'm surprised you said that, Crackety. That's a nerf to Chuganu.
That's completely fine. I think that Chuganu shouldn't do any damage to buildings or siege at all.
Why is that? Attack them with trade. These gold bags are heavy. They were trying to return for the market,
crossbows.
That doesn't exist
They're
anymore.
trying. They're doing their best. Randy gets taken down though by the Fire Lancers. That's a lot of trebuchets.
That's a lot.
And if he has shattering projectiles, then
that's a lot of Fire Lancers as well, is my concern, right? That I actually think that he's been baited now by these Roboticons. It's weird, right? Because, like, Fire Lancers are the one unit that, as a melee, can counter Roboticons, but not with these choke points.
yeah, it's so tough to kill him in the choke points, and Roboticons, they do so much damage. They take down Men-at-Arms pretty much instantly.
I love how there's not a single hero unit in the late game that looks good. Right, that king does not scale whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely doesn't seem any more kingly in the end than he does at the beginning, but the stats are quite incredible on the king in the late game. That's like 400 HP, something like that.
It's an interesting one, right? Like, I've been a big fan of this idea of more kind of Khan-like units, right, with abilities. I hope we do see more of that. Like, the king was a bright idea into it, but right now he's like, me have very slow heal, and me worst knight in late game. me die. It's
Yeah.
like Mache to guns.
Looking at the king in the late game, 2 healing per second out of combat, suddenly doesn't feel that strong anymore when the king himself has like 500 HP.
I guess
I was at 400. I went up to 500. It just gets bigger.
It's the problem.
I mean, 600 HP units are quite high.
It's like, I guess the problem is like if you make him too strong as well, you know, it validates the counter hold sort of. You know what I mean? Like it's if he was a true hero unit, I feel like hero units are the type of things like the Khan that should be accessible by default. Well, they don't need a Khan in this game. State sort of they're gaining ground. Magic has had free reign of the South Side for so long, but that reign of terror is coming to an end.
Yeah, looks like both teams actually reduced their economy quite a bit now in order to go for that push now. I mean, one team's economy has probably been decreased voluntarily, while the other one's hasn't. Looks like SortOf, they did, I think, lose like 30 eco units, and now 7 trebuchets from State, and buffed with the network of citadels, they're going to take down games really, really fast.
Knights. Well, the King Rava is back again. If you're not going to fight for a long time, might as well have him out there. I mean, like we highlighted, he's only 200 resources now. It's worth it, especially with this many injured units. And there's a lot of injured units now. Nesta Bees gets a good hit in. Republican needs to protect Fire Lancers. Backstab. We'll be able to take out some
immediately done.
5 trebs in total.
God.
And that's
big value.
He's going to get more. The second wave's coming to the left side. This could be all the trebs going down. In fact, it is going to be Magic with the surround. That's a pricey loss for State.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of time in order to rebuild that, and that means that a lot of the tempo is now gone. Now, sure, I mean, SortOf, they've pushed so far in there. State has done such a great job with taking on keeps, taking on the landmark there as well. There's not a lot of defensive structures now between him and the base of Magic. And now keep going up in the trade as well. That's going to be huge.
Blocker they need. They're just trying to push them on the high ground. You push your opponent on the high ground, and that's what they've got. 50 minutes into a game of Hill and Dale, I don't care what your name is, I don't care where you're from, you're getting ready to wave that white flag.
Yeah.
The walls as well. Just in case they get past this. Just in case the
just
traders...
gonna make sure.
Like, just in case there's like 50 traders and they somehow come back alive.
Look at the Rams just getting focused here.
Oh, he doesn't even move. You just park them in. Just park them in stop. They don't have to move. They are now our tanks. So I'm watching Overwatch for Reinhardt at the front.
Yeah, definitely tough to get past them right now. And the most annoying thing is if the Rams are in front, the reinforcements, if they just get attack move towards the front, they're just going to be stuck on the Rams for the end of the dive.
Guys, you trade? He does know, but they're not going to stop Crackety. They're going to keep going. They need the gold.
Yeah, there's no other way for them to get gold right now other than the English Farms. But English Farms is not going to be enough for 2 players here.
Yeah. They have opened up the north side. They could try trading to the same spot.
What they really need to do is like do the same thing that their opponents did and drop a keep there.
Maybe. They've got enough bombards to just blitz through that keep. And right now, you can see that SortOf and State are not really in a great position to defend a flank attack there. But they are going to gain ground in the center if you do this.
Yeah, Men-at-Arms aren't going to be able to take down those Rams, so Keep should be able to stay alive here now.
Wait, State.
Unless... State, the job's not finished.
Like, got him. Intimidation roll, natural 20. They retreat, right? No, there's still a round.
Now it's getting taken down.
This is going to take another 20 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Keep attempt.
It's going to be a while. Oh,
that's
Keep actually getting denied.
No way that goes up.
Yeah.
Oops.
And now there's 4 bombards there as well. Oh, nope. Bombards.
They are unguarded, though, Crackety. This might be a problem. Those are fire lancers.
Might very much be a problem. Oh, wait, they go down so quickly. I don't think there's siege works there.
This unit is so absurd.
It's got nerf KP. What are you talking about? It does less fire damage now. Less torch damage now.
It's not a nuclear bomb anymore. It's just like a intercontinental ballistic missile. They're different. It's weaker. This one can only kill 10,000 people instead of 1 million, you know?
People can still live there after the bomb explodes.
No, now it's a ghost town. I feel like that's becoming a boomer
get taken down. I feel like Magic,
one lives. Like these Robotic, I can't believe these Roboticons actually have managed to look good this game.
Yeah, they've been looking really solid so far. Maybe? Yes? No?
They're very picky, you know, like a fussy person who like needs their food to not touch on the plate. They're like, oh no, that hand cannonier's got mud on him. We don't want to kill him. Keep on the way though.
Oh, looks like Mitoe. Yeah, he's finally going to be pushing onto the trade here. Really nice. I think he just needs to like pull 5 crossbows at the very least and park them there on the trade. And also the way that just the micro is a little bit missing here right now. Probably has a lot on the splatter right now with all the things that are going on in team games in the late game. And yeah, it's going to be a little bit tough to control the units as efficiently. And one side has hand cannons, the other one only has crossbows. Now crossbows in mass still going to be able to like take down these fire lances really quickly.
It's brutal. He only brought 5 villages for this.
That's not enough. That is not enough.
Fail keep right there, right next to each other. Mark it on the screen, teal and pink, but they don't bring ample villages, folks. That's going to be a stinger for both of them. Both of them have suffered in different ways for that north side. Will continue to do so at least for the next few minutes, but there's no doubt this hand cannon near play, which sort of can afford almost indefinitely, is winning out against what is being sent his way.
Yeah, no, there's a huge amount of reinforcements coming. Actually, hand cannons are being slowly but surely taken down here now.
Still, like,
and this is the thing, right? Hand cannons take a lot of time to produce.
Yes, but the production is right here. And there's also pass guards. So that's the thing you have to keep in mind. Is Mitoe, you can see it from his base. That's a very long walk for his units. Meanwhile, SortOf has a proxy base right next to this combat. Keep going up. Magic's like, okay, guys, I've seen your keeps. Let me show you how you build them. 1, you pick China, and then 2, you bring 15 villages.
Yeah, keep is going to go up. Lots of villagers going down, though. I mean, looking at the eco number, SortOf, they have 70 traders right now. IamMagic, they are at 20 currently. On that villager count, not a huge difference between them.
These walls. It's the restriction, the constriction we were talking about. They really are snaking their way across the map.
And with the map control also comes a lot of wood access, right? And in these later stages of the game, wood definitely becomes an issue for all players.
Sacred Sites also ticking down. Now you have to look very hard and squint behind those big numbers because, of course, teams had to go score points. But we are just over 8 minutes away from a victory for SortOf, which would force a Game 5 in our first series of the day. And as a result of that, another mirror matchup.
Yes, it's going to be another mirror. Oh, God. Oh, man. All right. This is looking really rough right now. I mean, at least the Sacred Side is going to be there, right? The Sacred Side is going to be there. That means this game isn't going to go on forever. Team SortOf are finally going to say, okay, it's been long enough. We're getting there. We're going to finally close this game out. And game number 5 is going to be had here. I feel like IamMagic, Magic and Mitoe, they've been so strong in the first couple of games. And even in this one, they've still held on for quite a long time. But just the way SortOf and Stay played, like, this is their home map for a reason. They've shown time and time again in the previous games that they know how to, like, open up their map, or rather split the map up into, like, these different areas that they can fight for. And this one was no difference. Like, you look at the map, it's like there are so many different lines. It feels like a Calp game, honestly.
I knew you were going to bring him into this. You know what the best part is? We have a Calp-esque person later on if we get that Divine DFB series. This might not be the first time you get this type of treat, folks. What do you say the last game is? HRE Marlians on Rocky Canyon? That could be a long game as well.
Yeah, could be. Now Rams once again from SortOf just pushing into the base now.
I'm getting deja vu. Have we not seen this exact thing before?
We have been here before, but yeah, the issue is that not only can they not push onto the Sacred Sites, they're getting pushed into their base.
It's the beginning and the end, and that wall is critical, right? They've created this choke point, and the worst part about it, before the advantage of Magic being able to divide and conquer, now being used against him, as they're forcing a one-on-one on the flanks where they have favorable resource generation. These Fire Lancers, just one Fire Lancer by Trebuchet. I hate this one so much.
Yeah, Fire Lancers, like, you need stone walls in order to block the Fire Lancers, even for your siege. It's like, you can't leave your siege without stone walls.
Magic's just like, bloody
now,
developed.
granted, Status... Yeah, now, Status, like, granted, he's making stone walls in the front, right? But just gotta close them up.
I'm just watching the amount of times that Magic's had to give resources to Mitoe, like, bloody developers. Like, well, I guess I'm Chinese, I can afford it.
Ram nerfs incoming.
I mean, they have
Fire
been
Lance
absolute
nerfs incoming.
nuisance. Like, it hits into what you were just saying about wood as well. Like, he needs to replace these farms. It's the backbone of the English. Food and gold comes from these. But you need to spend 75 wood for each one to build them.
Looks like Magic. Some quick
Well,
walls here in order to block the trade.
Goodbye to trade, my friend. I hope you enjoyed it while it lasted. Oh, let's watch the Revolticum murder the trade. Oh, no, he won't even let us see it.
There we
GG
go.
instantly from Magic the moment he sees that trade is cut off.
Yeah, exactly. And that means we're going to be going into game number 5 now between Team SortOf and Team IamMagic. Man, I want to say something, though.
Mm-hmm.
Judging by how long this series has gone on so far, I want to hear what name have you prepared for Team Beastie and FEH?
Do I really have to reveal them all now? I mean, I could save them. Right, so like we'll go for it in the in between the lobby screen. I'll run you through them.
All right.
I think you'll like them though. We'll get there eventually though. If you're just tuning in, by the
We'll
way,
compare.
this is
compare.
This is still the first series, by the way. We still have 3 more series after this, so you're definitely getting your entertainment. I know I don't know what the sub equivalent is here. I'm not well versed in the Afreeca ways, but if it gives money to EGC, give them money, guys. Just give them money.
Pop the balloons.
They're giving you your value. I can guarantee you that much. This is a big day of entertainment, and this series has definitely started us off perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, look at the military graph here. Mitoe, like, he had so much military out on the field at all times, but he just wasn't able to, like, push through. Like, the defensive play there was just so absolutely on point. And now we see the Mirror, Archery, and Marlians coming out for both player on Rocky Canyon. Okay. Mirror on the wall. Who's going to be the Marlians of them all? It's going to be interesting to see.
Because we'll be asleep by the time we get to them, I can run you through them now. So it's Louis Yui is kind of obvious, right? And then you chant them as if they're winning. You're like Louis Yui, not so Huey, right? Brilliant. Wham and Blade is Wade, right?
Not Blam?
Nah. I like Wade because it's a very because I can just imagine this guy with sunglasses, right? And then you put the 555 afterwards. You could, in fairness, have Blam. It's not bad, but where it gets really interesting is actually when you get to Divine, DFP, and Kiljadi. I think I came up with what was it? Divine. It's Divine.
It's tough to make a name out of that one.
I had it and I've forgotten it now. It was a pretty good one.
Kill DFP.
Kill DFP. Don't mind that one. It was something like Divine D. I can't remember. Divine RD. No, I've forgotten it. It's gone. It's great. It doesn't matter. The better one is Nyansor. I like Nyansor. It's very good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Now this is the easiest one. You thought it was gonna be hard. It's Feasty. Feasty.
I'm not sure. Do you know the very popular snack that's like served at like gas stations, a little salami thing?
Oh,
the beefy.
yeah.
That's what I was thinking about.
I like Feasty because like they eat, if they win in, they're feasting on them. But my favorite one by far, because of the fat joke I made last week, is Overly.
It's a good one. I was thinking of Urkley, but Overly is also nice.
So for those that aren't in on it, like I believe it was like last time when I was casting Elite Classic, I made a comment that if Overly ever gets fat, we have to start calling him Overly. So Overly is just getting Ook in there. Because if they win, they're probably going to look fat. They're going to look good, big chunky boys. Especially Overly, actually, his style is maybe more kind of like in that late game. I hear a lot of people warn against letting him get there. The Divine one's going to come back to me, man. It was really good. I was like, oh, that sounds sick, but I can't remember it now off the top of my head. But yeah, Kill DFP works.
We still have quite a lot of time before that one. That's
set
number 3. How long?
Long time.
How long has this set taken so far? 3 hours? Considering that we got 3 more sets in front of us. Okay, we'll be here a while.
I warned them. I was like, potentially that's 20 games. So for comparison, I think Elite Classic was like 5 best of 3s, which is a maximum of 15 games. Likely a lot less though.
Yeah, and in the best of 3, it's much like the chance is much more often there that's going to end 2-0.
With these teams especially is what I'm thinking. Like, I think that final series as well as a 5-gamer, I think series number 3 potentially could be the only 3-0.
Yeah, I think so too. Who do you think is going to 3-0?
I think Kiljardi might surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, Kiljardi has a lot of team game experience as well. He's playing a lot of team games with Doomsy, for example. He's also in a team for the Rising Empires League, played a lot of games there. I don't think Divine was actually in a team for Rising Empires League, but Kiljardi definitely a very good, very strong team game player as well. And yeah, I definitely think that his experience there is going to help them as a team a ton.
Was it Divardi? I think I came with Divardi. It's not bad. Kill
I like
Divine?
Kill DFP.
Kill DFP does work. Someone sounds like Kill Divine. Like, whoa, no. It has to be part. So, like, you know what I need? I need people who've played Heroes of the Storm and they know who Cho'Gall is because they understand how this game works. It's always one half there, one half the other. So that's the best way. So, for example, that's why we went with SortOf, right? Because it works. IamMagic, I let us have that because it's so like I love that IP. It's amazing. But in theory, it should have been Mitoe because it's like it has to be half.
Cho'Gall is a champion for like 2 people, where one of them is like, "Oh, my food just arrived. Can you do the movement?
Yes.
I'll play with one hand."
That's basically what that hero is. And funnily enough, that's really appropriate for how I think the third series is going to play out from a team dynamic between Divine DFP and Kiljardi.
One only playing with one.
No. One's like, let me get all the food and eat.
Divine just watching. Divine just watching while Kiljardi does the aggression.
Yes, exactly. I genuinely think that series is literally just going to be devised like, I'm going to go multi-TC and Rush Castle. And Kiljardi's just like, Kiljardi's literally building his feudal landmarks in your base, even if he's not, like, Chinese. Oh, blimey. Anyway.
All right. We're getting closer to our game number 5 now.
And I'm pretty sure that this is going to be a 40-minute. So, reminder to folks, Rocky Canyon is the one with trade.
Yeah, I think there are a couple of strategies which can, if the enemy team doesn't react to him properly, can end the game in like the first 10 minutes. Something we're gonna have to see what exactly they're gonna go for. I've played some practice games with Puppy Paw and Lash at one point in time, and also just watching Ladder, seeing how Kaup currently plays Malians. Like with the buff that we recently had to the cattle ranches, to the cattle overall, just the amount of food that you're getting now. Many times, I think in team games especially, you use the Malian player as the knight civilization, right? I talked about it extensively previously, that it's always really good to combine a knight civilization with an archer civilization. So having like the Malians be the knight civilization here in the feudal age, and the HRE, which aren't a bad archer civilization at all. They get the Archon, they're getting a ton of wood, they're getting the marching drills with their blacksmith. Suddenly they have really fast archers. And yeah, then suddenly the archers are going to be really strong from HRE. They're going to be mobile, out on the map. You can make a lot of them. And yeah, it's gonna be definitely an option here for the HRE player to just go into just mass archers in the Malian, to go into cattle ranches with the cattle landmark. What was the cattle landmark's name again? It's
Fulani Corral.
Yeah, Fulani Corral, and yeah, just spam out the sofas.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like the idea of them being the cavalry comp, and the cool thing is like HRE. You could even go archers, but like the marching drills, right? You could also just go for spearmen, men at arms. I actually like the idea of that comp. Lanks maybe in there as well. Like, I think you have enough mobility that if you're pushing your opponent to the base, they can't play a range comp in late game and feel like they're going to win.
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely an option on how it's going to be played. Thing is, though, if you go for like the mass spearman, mass men at arm kind of approach, if the Malians get to Castle Age and they get like the poison arrows, then that's the entire composition kind of gone.
By the way, just to point out to people, initiating overlay, it's not that we're running on a Windows 98 and it takes that long to initiate an overlay. We did have a crash. State decided that being an AoE4 pro, a StarCraft pro, a PUBG and StarCraft commentator was not enough. He wanted to also become a NASCAR driver. So we're just getting him back into the game quickly, and hopefully we'll be ready to go. We're figuring out how we can get that started quicker. Hopefully we'll be in game in the next maximum 5 minutes, hopefully sooner.
Yeah. Something like that. Just gonna be a little bit until then. Gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Shouldn't take too long for that timer to start back up. In the meantime, we are still here to entertain you. We're still here to also tell you about, well, not Twitch Prime. We're gonna be telling you about Afreeca balloons. Now, that's not a pyramid scheme. I know it sounds like one. It's not. It's not. Trust me. Trust me.
Is
It's
it a
not a
tower
pyramid
defense
scheme.
game? What is it? Tell me more, Crackety.
I don't know exactly what it is. I can't speak Korean very well. But I know that many balloons equals good.
Oh, and no, you're misselling this. It's not just a balloon. It's a star balloon, okay? Like, were you ever a kid and you wanted a star on your balloon? You can get a star on your balloon here. Not only that, you can buy stickers. You know this, Crackety? You can buy stickers? I didn't know this was a thing. Like, who needs a most? You can just get stickers individually. Like, basically, give money, EGC, very much likey, more money for players, thumbs up, what's not to like. Why have we updated? Why are we Wham and Blade versus Louis and Yui now? What?
Huh. All right. I mean, I don't mind. It's not a mirror. It's not a mirror. Look at that.
Wow! And all we had to do is change series.
Sometimes it can be so easy.
I think someone's getting a bit too excited here. We seem to have... Game number 5 was stalemate. They were so fantastic, we decided they should both play whoever they were going to meet next in the bracket. Hopefully we'll get back that sorted in a sec. We do still have one game to decide between SortOf State versus Magic and Mitoe. Maybe there's a technical issue that means it's going to be delayed. We'll get an update on that as quickly as possible. But, yes, no mirror. Wow, I didn't... After the last 3 hours of my life, Crackety, I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, like, at one point, you're starting to be like, okay, another mirror. And then it's like, oh, another mirror, another one, another one, another one. At least now we can see that the first game of that set is not going to be a mirror, but definitely feels like we can already tell that, I mean,
You know
it looks like the NA players, they've been practicing with each other because first game...
No. Don't go back to this. No, I don't want the mirror. Get off my screen. All right, Cracky, I'm calling now. This is some pussy level crap, right? Get me a second observer. Send me a feed of the other game. We'll cast Wham and Blade and SortOf State versus Magic and Mitoe at the same time. Deal?
Yeah, I mean, that works, right?
Firm handshakes.
That 100% works. We can just, like, do the comment every now and then. We go, like, going back to SortOf and Might and Magic.
Yeah, like that.
Still nothing has happened.
Vodka, kick up the laptop. Give me the feed. We'll run both at the same time. I'm actually game for that, to be honest. Oh. If only there was a watch live option that really worked now before. Like, I fantasized about this. Jeez, the wrong word. I theory crafted this for a great way of beginning, like, early phases of tournaments. Is like, I think NFL calls it the red zone. Right? Or like match of the day would be like for football in England. The whole idea is like all the games would be going on simultaneously. You're like, let's check in to see if Beastie's able to overcome that rank 6,000 person, or if they're going to try to successfully cheese him with the 8-minute all-in Mongol strategy. Oh, looks like it's not working out. Let's now tune in and see if Kalb is going to go Imperial Age or if he's trying to rush for once. Oh, and then you just hop around, right? It'd be beautiful.
Yeah, something like that.
Things I want.
Could be very nice.
Best part is you could hop in and be like, oh, it's a mirror. Get out of here. Right? We'll check back in 20 minutes and an ambassador mirror. We don't need to be here. But we are going to have to go one by one. Looks like we have fixed that. So apologies, folks. We are going to see the 5th game. It should be ready in a moment.
Yeah, we're not going to be like somewhat blocking here now. After 4 games, we do want to see how this set in the end resolves itself. So 2-2 right now for SortOf and State. Versus Might and Magic. And to be fair, I mean, at the beginning, Might and Magic, they were 2-0. They were leading 2-0. And we're now potentially at a reverse sweep.
We are. What a brilliant turnaround it would be, right? Like, honestly, if you think back to that game 1 and game 2, I don't think you would have expected this to be 3 hours plus into the broadcast, right? It looked like
those weren't close games. Those were not close games at all. They were brutal.
And then
brutal
you look at game 3. I'd say game 3 was quite stompy actually for SortOf and State. But like before anyone's like, you know, doing cartwheels and like, well, SortOf have got this easy. I'd say game 4 looked very close.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why it took like an hour to finish off.
Is it because they picked English
got a timer
Chinese?
Yeah, maybe. But now we do have a timer, so 30 seconds left until we finally get into our game number 5 here. Very excited for that one. Atri and Malians, that's a good Civ composition overall. Like, I mean,
You know what's better than that
it's
comp though? HRE Malians. Malian HRE,
true.
sorry. Yeah, even better.
Mali HRE and HRE Malians, they're both very, very good. I mean, if I hold both of them up against each other, I can't tell which one I favor more. That's how good they are,
That's
both
true.
of them.
They fail the taste test. You're not sure. And then we're like, oh, actually, it was the same thing all along, which is exactly what we've got for you here, because apparently 4 mirrors is not enough. They live in a mirror shop. They grow up in a mirror shop. It's been their entire childhood, and now it will be their entire series, as game number 5 is an HRE Malian mirror.
And here we go. It's going to be on the map Rocky Canyon here. And we start off with SortOf, Team State, Team SortOf, with the Mali HRE composition. On the opposite side, with the HRE Mali composition, we see IamMagic opening up in a very similar way, as all of them have the same civilizations here now so far.
Hey,
Typical for Mali, they go for the pit mines.
I could have condensed that intro much
for
more
it.
for you. They all love gold. The feel of it, the touch of it, the smell of it. That's right. This is a gold fiesta, my friend. HRE and Malians everywhere.
Yeah, and in team games, HRE really, really strong because there's just more relics out on the map, right? Depending on the map, I think Mountain Clearing probably has like the most amount of relics total.
Yeah.
Mountain Clearing has like 10 relics total.
What's insane, because each TC starts with 2 next to it, right?
Yeah, and then there's 2 in the middle, and yeah, it's a lot of relics. 10 relics total, so...
Biddlin just looking at himself going, what have I... Nah, I'm not going to do Biddlin. Biddlin tried to fix that map. Someone originally should be thinking, what did I do with this?
Yeah, I mean, Biddlin, maybe give us some closer wood spawns in team games, please?
Yeah, Biddlin's trying to fix stuff. Like, shout out to Biddlin, okay? Like, you know, whoever created that map, it's like, you know when someone throws, like, a 2-year-old's, like, splattered painting on your table, and the boss is like, turn this into the Mona Lisa. You're like, what the fuck? What am I meant to do with this?
What do you want from me here? Where do I even begin?
Do I start with crayons to keep the consistency, or do I actually try to paint the Mona Lisa? But, you know, he done a good job of turning that around. He done a decent job with this. And shout out once again to Biddlin for his very elegant ways of naming maps. Rocky Canyon.
Yeah, Dry River. It feels like Rocky Canyon is more of a dry river than dry rivers, to be fair.
I'm sorry. We should stop being mean.
Also, where's the mountain and mountain clearing?
It's around the outside. Yeah, yeah. There's a clearing within the mountains.
Isn't that a valley? Isn't that a valley? A valley clearing?
I'm pretty sure Biddlin's handing in his resignation right now. Anyway,
right. What's up? What's up?
As we start to get a preview of the feudals coming, as expected, there is 0 deviations here. No mine works.
Quarry, Archon Chapel, no mine works.
Come on.
There's
wait, what? Hold up.
What? Okay.
State. There's no Mongols in this game. They're not going to burn your house.
State is doing us a favor here. He's making the set very, very short.
Is he though? Because like that's trade.
Either very short or very long. But I'm tending for very short because if trade doesn't get punished, it's over. If trade gets punished, it's over.
I see. You're that person that goes to Vegas and puts like 20 grand on black.
Yeah, and then I leave after that one. No matter how it goes after that one, I'm out.
You don't even wait around for the results. You're like, whatever.
Here's my bank information. You give or you take. You decide.
State's not going to have his bank raided thanks to that Saharan trade network, at least. But I mean, I'm curious if the plan is to try, like, if he's like, oh, I can do a short trade and get value. I mean, he doesn't have to worry about short trade, right? The neutral trade post for his side of the map is on the opposite. And in fact, I wonder, was that plan? Is there a way to? There isn't a way to guarantee that your neutral trade post spawns on the opposite side, right? Like this was a coin flip.
Yeah, but to be fair, there's no trade trick anymore. So no matter where you put your markets, it's like not going to change the income at all.
Yeah,
from
but
them.
you don't have to walk as long initially, right?
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, that can be a little bit annoying, but you can walk them all the way across first, I think, or like halfway across. I'm not sure.
Without cringing.
No, I mean like you can make a market on your side and make traders first, and like just stack them up a little bit. And...
That's fair. Well, either way. It looks like we're probably going to see trade. Meanwhile, SortOf, he's going into the stables immediately as the HRE player.
This feels bad against potential warrior scouts. And it looks like Magic is going to go for a second TC here. All right. I mean, that's going to be a boom-ish kind of behavior from both teams here. Now, one going for the trade, one going for the second TC. Now, Malian's usually the civilization that's like really, really good at like harassing or just punishing these boomy kind of playstyles. Because the warrior scouts, they can lock you into your base really quickly and just make it so that you can't go out onto these external resources. And now, the Siren Trade Network is going to finish. Where is State going to go from here? Is he immediately going to go into traders? No, it looks like he's first going to be dropping the stable.
I prefer this. You need map control before you trade, right? I was about to say, like, perceptually, like, what State has done there, in some ways I like it more because it's playing off of the meta, right? You know, we're just talking about gambling. I always talk about this idea of what poker has called implied odds. It's that whole idea of, like, what you should do based on the hand, right? Like, how much can I bet and, you know, on average I come out ahead? And what the best players will do is they'll take that implied odd and they'll play away from it intentionally, right? So they might try all in you with, like, you know, a 2 and a 4, which is a very bad hand, right? Not going to, like, hit with that pre-flop very often. But your opponent is like, why is he all-inning? So it's the same logic. Like, when you see a Malian player, to your point, you're like, oh, yeah, he's probably going to, like, very much aggro me, maybe go for Rimba, but there's going to be a lot of scouts. He's not likely to trade immediately.
Villagers pulling their shifts against the horseman here.
Dude, the prelate
horseman trying to take down the prelate. Yeah, it's just the healing, and you can't out DPS that. I mean, it would be nice if he was able to take the prelate down, but there's just not enough units, and Mitoe is there to cover for his teammate, and it looks like State isn't going to lose his warrior scout, and that one's going to heal up relatively quickly. Not as quickly as he used to in the last season, but still quickly enough for him to be at full HP in just a couple of moments. Behind us now, Mitoe even adding in some Dunzo, so yeah. Looks like he's investing a lot into feudal age here. I like the idea that he's gonna really hammer it down in the feudal age here. Also, early on investing into cattle. That's nice.
Yeah, and they're basically playing the same formulation they've done in game 1-2, right? Where Magic is the greedy player and Mitoe covers the weaknesses. He stays like 1 TC. And what I love about the way they approach this is Magic, to get that maximum gluttony and protection of his goal, he went for a second prelate very early on, despite the fact he went Arcan. And that's not something you see often, right? If you see additional prelates, it's after the second TC is built. But this was before.
Both Malian players also went for pro scouts here in order to feed their HRE player.
Get him big. Get him chunky. He will be a chunky monkey because of that. Now,
yeah, you want them fed.
Now, keep in mind, though, SortOf is already adding in farms, so really not playing out the way we were expecting. But Regnitz is at least already on the way for SortOf.
Yeah, the thing I'm seeing, though, is that SortOf, he did invest into a stable early on now. He can make knights, but there's already spearmen and Dunzos out on the field for the enemy team.
Yeah, quite the tricky predicament here. I think SortOf, like, the problem is, well, is the map hasn't been funneled yet, so it's not like you want to transition into men-at-arms or spearmen right now. Yay, fun unit.
Yeah, at least Mitoe still has his scouts there, so these shouldn't be able, like the last two at least, shouldn't be able to return with the deer.
I'm not gonna lie, that scout healing's so powerful, I'm surprised it doesn't like have a knock-on effect and revive the deer. It's just stupid. They nerfed it though, right? What was it, down to 1.5 a second?
It was from 2.5 to 1.5, I think.
It's still stupid.
And then in Castle Age, no, in Imperial Age, it gets bumped back up to 2.5. Something also that has changed is that the warrior scouts, they used to only do bonus damage to archers in Imperial Age. Now they do that with the veterancy upgrade as well. So if you mess up a lot of warrior scouts in the feudal age, they get a lot more value in the Castle Age as well.
I'm almost certain, I need to double check this, but the more I watch and think about it, I'm almost certain that the scouts attack quicker than horsemen as well.
They do.
Yeah.
They 100% do.
Yeah, like that's the disgusting nature of it. Like it truly is vile. I don't know, man.
The attack speed has been nerfed a ton when they reduced the attack damage from scouts to 1.
Yeah, like because that was the thing, right? It used to be that scouts done double the damage, but they attacked very slow, and they were like, oh, let's fix this by having the same DPS but attacking faster. One offset that wasn't expected from that is it actually buffed certain elements of scout play, right? Things like torch damage. Also was a buff to roost for like hunting deer. Yeah, it's interesting how those type of changes, like at surface value, seem like they don't change anything, but actually drastically do.
The Mass Spearson now actually doing a lot of damage to State's economy. He's not going to be able to click up anytime soon. Now, SortOf, he clicked up quite a bit earlier than Magic. Well, not actually that much earlier, considering that Magic is on the second TC. That Regnitz is going to go up, and a lot of the relics still out on the field here
and
for Magic to pick up.
I prefer Magic's option, right? Like, he's already got double racks down, so probably going to see a few Men-at-Arms pumped out immediately. In the meantime, like, you know, you want to try and hoover up these relics, but it feels like you need to address the fire at home, right? It's not very easy to sneak out and snake all these relics right now. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, so far, what, one? I think SortOf's been able to grab one relic?
Yeah, I don't think there's been a lot taken. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 are out on the map, and I think 7 spawn in team 2v2.
Yeah.
So, yeah, only one relic has been taken so far.
It's just frustrating as well. Obviously, starving out State. Tech up is at least on the way. Mitoe is going to spend a lot longer in Feudal Age as a result of all this, but in a good position to tech up afterwards. And these wall-ins from Magic are proving frustrating.
Yeah, exactly. And also means that, yeah, he can't get the relics. And also, the relics are going to be easy to access for Magic. He can just go over there with a Prelate, destroy a wall, take the relic out. If he has extra time, he just even builds a gate in there. That's a lot of houses going down. That hurts a lot.
Yeah, it's very pricey. Like, because, you know, it's the fact that this was your natural pit mine, and the only other option right now if you're State is to play onto the one next to Relic that you already know there's a tension there. Like, I would not be happy as a Marlian player like this. You're Castle Age, and you have one pit mine.
Yeah, and State behind all of this. He invested into, well, he built this Iron Trade Network, but there's no trade at all. Pellet goes down. That's so pricey.
I think he's going to get away. Okay, psych. The charge rejuvenated just in time. These Men-at-Arms have looked pathetic, by the way. Like, I don't think Magic's once tried to attack them.
Now, Mitoe, he's still very deep in Feudal Age from the looks of it. He's invested into a lot of Dunzos, into a lot of Warrior Scouts, and now, actually,
that's free.
SortOf is getting some good damage in.
Yeah, 4 villagers going to go down here. Looks like there's finally going to be a reaction on the way as Mitoe is coming to assist, but pricey for Magic. Of course, he can afford that, considering he's on 2 TCs, but it's still a stinger.
Yeah. Now he's also making multiple Knights, so should be definitely able to... Oh, God. Prelate?
It's okay.
Michael Jackson, all right. He's taking the wood line there.
Plenty more where that came from. If he triggers the wall early enough here. I'll push him off. Still got the relic coming. Meanwhile, look in the center. Oh, how many prelates has SortOf lost now to these spears?
Another one.
Oh,
another one. Another one.
I mean,
yeah, that's a lot. Like,
he must be singing "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time" because like every time, like they just come out of nowhere. These guys, these Britney Spears of the game, they are absurd. I think has that been the same 8 spearmen that have killed? I want to say 4 prelates now.
And also pretty much destroyed an entire pit mine with all the houses around it, right?
That's true. You know, but the watch has ended. Only one remains. Finally, the spearman being cleaned. Okay, ignore me.
This is where the Saharan trade network
pays
off, right?
Yeah, you're right.
That's a big brain play. State, random farm. State looking like 10 minutes ahead into the future, being like, okay, I know I need that there at that point in time.
You know, every good story, like, it has to have a narrative point that pays off. And that outpost definitely paid off.
Market has been built. It's going to get taken down immediately right after.
Uh-huh, you were saying?
The archer count right now is rising, though, for State. They finally have enough archers to take all the fights here against the Spearmen. Also have enough knights to fight against the opponent's knights. And now the Spearmen Donzo become kind of useless. It's all about, like, the more premium units now, the knights, the Men-at-Arms, which SortOf has a lot of out on the field right now. It
really does.
I feel like this is going to be the timing where they need to, like, kill. Oh, God. This is the timing where they need to kill Magic and Mitoe. Because if they can't kill them within the next 5 minutes... Magic is just going to outscale SortOf heavily, especially when it comes to the relics.
Like, the relics plus eco, just look at these numbers, just growing.
Yeah, 3 relics already been hoovered up. Is SortOf still only on 1 relic behind that? That's what I'm asking myself here right now.
The amount of snipes that happened here. So, like, what was that? Yeah, it's 1 relic, because there's still 2 in the field, and 3 have been hoovered up already by Magic.
He's going to get that one at some point, hopefully, unless it gets sniped on the way over.
Yeah, and like, well, I think he's finally breaching for that one closest to his base. He's got enough control there, mainly because this push in has forced Mitoe to come back to assist. He was trying to go mass Warrior Scouts and harass the ecos, but you need to address these knights now.
Yeah, I'm still worried though for Magic and Mitoe because SortOf's army has been increasing steadily. Lots of Men-at-Arms, lots of knights. And the archer count as well, really high up there. I'm not sure if we see poison arrows yet, but if poison arrows in, not quite yet. But even without, they're going to be doing a lot of damage in Feudal Age here.
You be careful. Nine Masters at least building at home. One thing I am noticing, it does look like there's no marching drills for SortOf, which has made it much harder for these men-at-arms to chase after the spears in the mid-map. It's making it much harder to chase on these dives.
There's a bit of blacksmith yet for Magic. There is, okay, there is one at the baywack in the base.
Warrior Scouts on the way, trying to call off reinforcements. Mitoe, he's on a coffee break right now. They're just rallying to the backside here, so it really is just a 2v1. And Magic, he's feeling the pain from it. Army is going to be cleaned up. Magic has next to nothing in his base to defend with. In total, there's 10 knights, but they barely exist here.
He cleaned up most of the knights from SortOf now.
Oh, you're right,
going to be able to kill the archers. Yeah, the archers have to run. They cannot remain there.
How did I not see that many still alive? I mean, it looked like there was enough blue, but the corpses baited me here. You're right. There's plenty of knights remaining. So Magic will be able to hold on for the moment. Mitoe, like, that's a massacre back and forth right there.
Yeah, that doesn't feel good at all. I mean, that's what Castle Age gets you, right? The bonus damage on the archer. Suddenly, the Warrior Scouts actually able to do a lot of damage to these archers. And now all of these are likely to go down. Are going to still take a couple of knights with them, maybe another one, but still a lot of damage has been done there to the army of SortOf. And we can see that the army count is now equalizing, while the eco count definitely isn't. Now, there was a lot of idle time cost. I think Magic, he rallied like 20 villagers all the way over to Mitoe's woodline.
And then got followed there.
There's still units there.
The men-at-arms. You're not getting rid of them that easily.
There's
a lot of men-at-arms, in fact. You're definitely not getting rid of them. Toxin's finally in.
Yep. Poison arrows has been researched by Mitoe, so these archers, they actually do good bit of damage now to the men-at-arms.
And marching drills seems to be there now.
Changes.
So SortOf can at least disengage with minimal casualties. That relic, by the way, right next to State's base, still has not been taken.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm quite sure that Magic's on like 4 or 5 relics behind that.
I reckon SortOf, actually, with the change in map control, I expect SortOf to be 2, if not 3 by now. Oh my god. They're so exposed still, though. Like, this is...
There's 3 there.
Yeah, he did get the 3. Yeah, as expected.
Yeah, okay. Now, okay. That's really good for him then. He needed that. Desperately needed that, because he is only on 1 TC behind that. And he's grabbing that other relic now. Villagers are going to repair the palisade wall there.
Oh. Well, we've picked up the shiny. The time to
maybe
run,
SortOf.
Run!
He's not running. He's just standing there.
The old man's like, oh, I can't hear you. The hearing's gone. Run! What is he saying?
Run! Just out repairing the torch damage there.
Yeah, but there's Warrior Scouts here now as well. I think this might be enough to start torching through that.
Should definitely be, unless the Warrior Monk just moves forward.
Leave.
The Scholar moves forward and goes for like a wall load, quick wall load. Buy some time for rewall potentially. No, okay.
He's finally leaving. All right, old man got the memo. Oh, well, that was a lot of work to stay.
No,
No, this is so much worse. Run!
Run further. You can't just stop there. Yeah, I mean, he has to sacrifice these 4 villagers.
You lose this fight right here. If you engage this fight, these knights plus the Warrior Scouts, I'm pretty sure you... Okay, there we go. Second wave finally arrives. I was wondering where they're at. SortOf, old man is also, like, the dementia's kicked in. He's like, wait, what was I doing? Oh, that's right, I was going to pick up a relic. So he's still not bringing it home yet. But I'll tell you what, it's looking like SortOf are going to bring home the reverse sweep. Like, their position in this game is escalating, and it's getting a bit scary for Might and Magic right now.
Yeah, I mean, the second TC has been really great here for Magic, but he's been idled so many times that it feels like the second TC hasn't really given him a lot. Overall, I think they definitely needed the same wards that State has put up for his teammate, and yeah, it just means that the enemies just can't go in from every single side. They're being forced to attack from one side and one side only. And if they attack from another, then it takes... Oh, okay, actually... Oh,
okay, that is a good strike there. SortOf corner looking. Seen the power of the poison arrows we talked about. I think one more lab might even flop before he gets back. Ooh. Is he alive?
Yeah, should. I think maybe.
There's a lot
maybe
of purple on him. How bloody big is this?
That's a great immune system, but yeah, night numbers.
He builds up immunity to the
players
poison,
both players have the same relic count right now, so I think SortOf should also be able to emulate the amount of knights that are out in the field right now. Men-at-arms just in the long run aren't gonna do it.
Mitoe, yeah, I was about to say, I think he realized that this dive is a bit too aggressive. That's cost him a lot of archers for really nothing gained. A little bit idle time, yes, but unless he can get through these. Finally, though, the Knights are going to arrive, and the outposts are not upgraded. So that easily could be 10 villages lost for SortOf, which is huge here. Remember, he's the HRE player that's playing 1 TC. Magic is the one that has the reboom on Eco.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the Springle, sure, it chips away at the archers little by little. But yeah, that outpost is going to go down, very likely. And that's 5 additional villagers down for them. And it's going to hurt a lot. And at the same time, there's still a couple of Knights just in the back of their base, just running around and being annoying, getting in position to strike again at the gold mine here from State. And gold on this map, there's not a lot of it, actually. Like, most of it's going to go towards the middle then, in the later stage of the game. But, like, when it comes to Mali levels, there's not a lot of it compared to what they're used to.
Yes. Well, I mean, I'm just looking at that fact that, like, somehow we are now 20 minutes in the game. State still. How long has he been in Castle Agents? How long has he had 2 pit mines? It's just, man, it's
been quite a while.
He's definitely not coming back to build that one next to his teammate's base, right? The pressure is all directed there. I do love what we're seeing out State, though. He's now riding in deep with the sofas and being a nuisance in Magic's economy.
Yeah, really, really important going for these raids now. He's the only player right now with sofas, and sofas are actually so good against the poison arrow archers as well. Because they have that +1 pierce armor that the Knights don't have, means that they actually only take a single damage there from the archers in the Castle Age. Takes a quick stop there, burned down a farm, loses a couple of sofas in the progress.
When you're just trying to click across, and the problem is the entire ground is attackable. Always the problem with farm clusters. Oh, this is...
Oh, archers now running in.
Yeah, but State can't fight
Mangonel in the queue. Yeah, with this many archers, the Mangonel goes down quickly. Actually, that's a big army there as well from SortOf.
He can get a good shot out. Mitoe pivots, minimizes the hit, but it's still a heavy one. Needs to be careful. Langsneck are approaching from SortOf. So you can't just rely on the A-click because they are at the back of the formation. But will retreat considering that his teammate isn't here. Right? You're playing with fire, Mitoe.
Yeah, this is so risky, and I think now he finally falls back. At the same time, just raids have been a little bit annoying here and there.
Finally seen, wait, is that the first castle of the game? I'm kind of a little bit surprised. But it's finally coming up.
That's the first one. Looks to be the first one. There's a big red dot at the... never mind, those were the walls.
Those are the walls,
with the relics, yeah. So it's not a keep being placed there.
Just, by the way...
Keep now in the middle, sacred side.
Did the farms that far out from an Arkham make you want to vomit at all?
I made my lunch a little bit late today, so I wasn't able to eat it before the cast. Okay. So I don't have anything to vomit up right now.
Oh well, you could eat it right now and then just like comically instantly puke it. Cause like 3 tiles away is quite far, right? I'm not alone in that thought process.
Yeah, it definitely hurts not having the extra inspiration. When you fully like flesh out an HRE space with farms, there's bound to be a lot that aren't going to be in range. I think you can fit like 25, maybe 30-ish farms inside the range of the Archon, but after that they're not going to be inspired. You have to manually put some pearls over there. Obviously,
it's
Archon farms are going to be insane.
Yeah, it's less damning for the HRE because they do get the extra carry capacity as a default on top of wheelbarrow, but it definitely kind of makes you wish you had room for a few mills around the outskirts.
Yeah. Archon buff coming in soon, maybe?
Yeah. Can we get so now when you build Archon, your villagers can teleport back to drop-off. Oh, that was close.
That clutch
so
repair.
Close.
Oh, that saved him there on that side.
That would have been murder on the dance floor. His army wasn't positioned to stop a raid through there. Probably lose 8, 9 villagers.
Oh, the archers!
In the center though. What are they doing? Stay caught with his hand in the cookie jar, and Magic will bite down hard on it.
That's 40 Knights right there. You can't take that down easily.
Why is it siege? The siege is just a freebie. Army's going to arrive. Oh, that's going to prevent the dive in. But right now, Magic with the 2v1 needs to consider a backup.
Yeah, I mean, the Knights can't fight this anymore now, but still, they did a lot of damage there to the archer count, keeping that one low. Because behind this, Mitoe, he's on 100 archer, and he has Springled. State sitting at 50 archers right now, losing a couple more there even.
Keeps going up behind this, though. Baiting him towards it could be good. Now, I think this is the second keep, but Bordenor probably not there. Although, that's something we know, and State and SortOf know. But Or rather, Magic and Mitoe know, but State and SortOf haven't discovered yet.
Yeah, Archer's just firing upon the Knights, but Knights can be really, really tanky. I wonder, like, this is probably also a time where Inspired Warriors should be in, right? You got so many Knights. Oh, no!
Oh, really? Badly. They'll back up,
That's, that was a big shot.
This is a good bait.
That was a pretty big shot.
Check what they're doing,
yeah,
though. Stealth forest. Yeah. And the stealth forest makes it hard to see.
They can't split up. I mean, there's going to keep going up here. That secures a good position to push in further.
Nice snipe.
But they have to fall back here soon. Yeah, that's one down.
Second man go. Right now, this is 2v1. Remember, for the moment, Magic's not involved. Instead, Magic's on the flank. He just broke through the palisade wall on the north side. He's looking to raid into State's economy.
Yeah, and they immediately have to fall back. They have to respect that. 50 Knights or 40 Knights right now, but 10 more in queue. That is no joke. You have to respect that.
This is the weakness of the comp comparison, right? Magic stayed on Knights. The other team moved pretty heavily away from cavalry. Why is that a problem? It means your army is parked. And the way that Magic and Mitoe are doing this, it's actually reminiscent of game number 4. But the difference is Hillendale is a lot more enclosed, a lot harder to achieve your goal of raiding on.
Archers arrived in base just in time, only taking minimal villager losses.
Sure, these just die
fast. They can... Yeah, I'm not sure, though, if Magic is going to be okay with losing all the Knight numbers, because that's a lot of Knights that are now trapped in the base of State and SortOf.
Don't you just leave that base and go straight into blues and then come out the other side?
Yeah, but they're following, right?
Yeah,
they're going to know where you're going now.
Sure, but like they can't cut you off because their army position, they've moved to react in the base of the Malians.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And Rewar also being cut off here now.
Still, these poison arrows are so bloody annoying. And hello.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage. Oh, Elspeth, actually. Okay, I mean, 2 TC. He's feeling comfortable with his villager numbers. He's going for the Elspeth.
But this makes sense.
That now, yeah, it's going to be insanely tough to destroy the buildings from Magic from now on.
Well, not just that. It's the fact that he sent all the Knights in like this. It's the classic, right? Like, we've seen people feign aggression to cover a tech up. He got in the back of the base. Look at this reaction. Some would call it an overreaction. That's 5 times, 6 times the troops to address these Knights.
Yeah. And behind that, I mean, Mitoe, his army count is still really, really scary. Now, SortOf and State, they've also got a good army count out right now, actually more than Magic and Mitoe have. But most of that is infantry, and infantry compared to Knights doesn't feel that pretty. And Magic still has a good chunk of Knights out.
Definitely will benefit from that upgrade. And of course, at some point we did get the second TC from Mitoe, so he's escalating his eco count as well. I'm pretty sure State never went for a second TC. And funnily enough, despite the Saharan trade, he never went for trade.
Yeah, there was no trade at all. And once again, the Knights are going to be there.
Can we just
Gate with the nerfed HP.
Pass of Schwabia.
So
SortOf's on the way.
It makes sense when you're behind in villagers by that much. Like right now, eco numbers just not looking good for Team SortOf at all.
Yeah, map control.
Now the keep in the middle is going to secure a lot of resources there in the middle of the map, especially for the Mali player. Elite Knights are in now. So these are incredibly dangerous to deal with.
Little C4 knocking your door. I mean, you could even just quickly extract that pit mine. That's going to be a huge gold blocker on State. And there's no way to react in time.
Yeah. And then just go back up.
Shake it all about. Definitely feels like you're missing out on that vital resource in the center, though. Like, I feel like they need to grab a stone outcropping and get a Magano line going. A bunch of keeps to defend.
He just sends in a couple of Knights and keeps his main force still in the middle. SortOf now also has reached the age up. But there's definitely, like, there needs to be a big fight here soon. I feel like.
You gotta be exhausting your gold, right? Even with that extra relic advantage that SortOf has.
You need to take control over the middle of the map. There's too much gold there. Now finally SortOf is getting a raid in as well.
It's productive.
Only with the men-at-arms, but if he gets a raid in, I mean, that's on the side of, like, the large gold. So he can at least force resource off there. But there's no villagers in there yet.
Yeah, I like how we got the one Lanx there as well. Like, he's the captain of the platoon. Could do a lot of damage if he's not taken out immediately.
Yeah. Knights do get spotted out. So
well,
still only Castle Age
revealed
for now.
Castle is going to go up, so now not an easy dive anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there's no boiling oil, so he can at least run past it or kill villagers under it. But looks like he's just going to try and... He's going to spot the trade. He's going straight for it.
And that's not a big boy trade, all right? That's congratulations. It's a son. And, you know, it's newborn. That's like, what, 3 traders total so far?
I have 5 out at the moment, but
Okay, fine,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, as soon as that market gets taken down, that's gonna be all gone. Or rather, it's gonna be Knight if it gets taken down. There we go. Now he spots it.
Meanwhile, the center, State, has built up a healthy army, one to buffer away any immediate threat on the front line. There's still only one player on each side in Imperial. You can't help but feel whichever Malian player is able to wiggle his way up faster will have a huge advantage here.
Oh, the complete infantry cleanup now with Knights.
Good reaction. I mean, it's Magic can do this, right? Because that's why that raid happens in the first place, is Magic hasn't actually been chasing into the enemy base much for the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, and Mitoe, he also made the cattles. Like, he's got all the cattle ranches full. He's getting a lot of passive food income with that. That's going to help him a lot. It's going to help him transition into Imperial Age, potentially.
We hear it. It keeps coming. And finally, it is going to be coming. It's going to be the Griot Bara on the way.
That is so dangerous. The Griot Bara. It actually had a change happen to it. Now, when you go for a Siege Festival, all Siege is going to be affected. All Siege damage as well. Well, not just like your torch damage, but all
like
siege damage.
Mango shots.
Meaning your Springles. Yeah, Mango's one shot, pretty much. Like, Archer units get pretty much one shot.
That's disgusting, especially when you consider what State's comp is right now.
Yeah, and Springles, I think they also, like, they two-shot Cauldrons.
Crackety, this is what I was talking about, right? Devs clearly designing for their own fantasies, because Mitoe already has 3 mangonels and a 4th one on the way. So he may have been thinking this exact scenario would emerge.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, once those mangonels hit, you better be far, far away. Because, oh no, the Cauldron gets taken down as well. And yeah, this is going to be the all-in push, I feel like. This is going to be where Team Might and Magic are going to go for the throat.
Look at this, the wraparound trying to get on top of the mangonel. Maybe it's just a few knights get through. They'll be able to leak on top of it. But even if they don't, like, this is men-at-arms versus knights. Sure, you've got extra bonus damage, but the knights are so high in general. Backstab attempt now coming in from State. Quick reaction out of Magic. A pivot over there. Mango shots thrown deep. A heavy hit there. But the Archer line protecting against any attempted flank by Blue. State, he has to peel off, but that means he's throwing SortOf to the wolves. He has no way of getting in here.
Yeah, no, the men-at-arms, they did actually do quite well here against the Knights. All things considered.
Mangoes, though.
Now,
if they get a shot off,
push in again.
Stay.
There's no Siege Festival.
He's not looking. It's still a heavy hit there, though.
Oh, yeah.
12 going down.
I mean, 3 mangonels.
Mango's being exposed now. Second flurry coming out. Another heavy hit. A backup in the meantime by Mitoe. Backstab attempt by Magic, but mirrored by SortOf. SortOf and State fighting tooth and nail to stay in this, but you look at the production numbers, you consider the tech up advantage, and you know that State is being weakened, crippled by this. He's the only player in Castle Age.
Yeah, he just doesn't have the income right now to keep producing. At the same time, Magic sending some Knights around the side, and that is just so tough for State. He cannot handle what Magic is throwing at him right now.
Anywhere, everywhere, all at once right now. Mango response out from State, but whoop-de-freaking-doodah. It feels like he's the only one frontlining now as SortOf tries to put out the fires. Main battalion of Magics has been put down, but he has 40 Knights spread somewhere on the map. A bunch likely reinforcement, but also a elite group in the back of the base. And on the trade.
Yeah, trade has been made in the back now by State, but gonna get taken out quickly with the Knights there. Imperial Age Knights, and looks like for now they're able to hold the front, but they have to do something about the backside. Have to clean up those Knights roaming around the trade right now, because trade could be the only way for State back into this game with the Saran trade network. If it kicks in now at a good time for him, then there's still potentially a chance.
Well, Mitoe won't really have the same access to gold, but his comp doesn't require it, right? It's more about that wood. So actually fighting tooth and nail for this mid-map is beneficial when you consider where the remaining wood's going to be in the next few minutes. Night raids on the back, definitely hitting at State, though. You can feel it. You know, don't be baited by those numbers, equal numbers being even. A bunch of that is trade to supplement the issue.
Looks like the Knights do want to dive onto Cauldron.
No, give me a little taste.
Out, though.
No, give me a little wiggle on. Nah, no chance. Too many units here. But this is the frontline assault you can't afford. Remember, this is Imperial Age Archers versus Castle Age. You're never winning that fight.
Yeah. And on top of the poison arrows, you can still get the upgrade from Blacksmith, where Malian Archers like +2 damage.
Cauldron?
Oh, Knights? Is the Cauldron getting tanked down?
I don't.
Looks like it barely survives.
No.
I think
yeah, the villager pull was quick. That was clutch from SortOf. Saves the day. And it seems kind of like, you know, trivial, but you got to keep in mind, sure, you know, HRE before Relics Regnits, but you know, he's massing men-at-arms. He's been adding a few Lang Skin. Then he's adding Siege, and he's running out of gold veins. So it's not like he can afford to throw Siege away like that, or casual.
Yeah, that's right. And at this point also, most of the wood on their hills have been completely chopped now. So it's going to be tough to get wood access, and we see SortOf here being out on the front.
Well, not
when
for
it
long.
comes to wood.
And he pushed back in a bunch of body bags here. So SortOf, that's showing the desperation, the position he finds himself in. Well, this is the type of stretch he can't afford, and you see the immediate response. Mitoe's like, my wood. I need that. Get out of here.
Culverin is now exposed. Culverin's going to get taken down.
Not just the Culverin, that's going to be the Mangonel as well. Even maybe the Trebuchet. That's all freebies. Oh,
going down so quickly.
Frustrating son of a gun.
Magic sending 2,000 wood to Mitoe there.
He just sent 1,500 food as well, I believe.
Yeah, so a lot of slinging going on right now as well. Making sure that Mitoe can produce a lot of units behind that now as well.
We'll pull back. Could actually set up a keep here with the stone outcropping. That's definitely an option. And a great backstab. They say, wait, you overextended? Jackpot, SortOf. And be carved up like a turkey here.
It's a lot of men-at-arms going down.
Again, the villagers not too bad, kind of makes up for it, right? Mitoe is on 2 TC, yes, but you know, even if you reproduce the villagers, you have to pull them to this fresh wood line, which is halfway across the map.
Yeah. Trade has also been building right now by state, so he's on 24 trades right now. Definitely not too shabby. Issue for them right now is just making sure that their base is going to be safe.
Yeah. Well,
because as far as the enemy concerns, it's still relatively open now. Stone walls are going to be coming up from state.
This could be big. They can get it all the way along. That's the Great Wall of State. The Great State itself. I mean, you can see it on the minimap. It's absurd. That's going to force them to commit. Beneficial as well, because State has got the Mangonel behind this. Meanwhile, Mitoe lacking in that department. He stopped producing Mangos. But the Archer Mass still spooky. Pushing against this. Magic is going to lose all the cavalry. And this is crucial. Remember, it's not just protecting the normal eco. They want trades. This wall is everything.
Yeah, this is really rough. If they don't get the wall up, it could be GG right there. But wall does seem to be getting up. Yeah. This could buy them a little bit of pause here now. 36 frames. Actually, it looks like State. He's got a ton of markets there in the corner. Looks like SortOf also has a couple. And maybe if they just get a lot of traders out with the Siren Trade Network.
Maybe.
Is there a chance that they could still push ahead?
Well, I want to check
because late-game trade is going to be much better for them, right?
Yes, but I would need to check SortOf's resources, because something that's concerned me is you saw those knights lasted a lot longer than they should have, because SortOf didn't send that many men-at-arms. I'm concerned that whether it's population or resource, something is limiting his ability to respond, and they don't get the wall up! A gap, an opening, and a striking immediately by Magic. This man! It's like he's dealing with voodoo magic right now. Every time he can sense weakness, he finds the artillery and he keeps the opening alive. The villagers are massacred and those walls can easily be torched.
Yeah, walls can be torched here. Now, without villagers building them, that is going to be the only point in time where stone walls under construction are likely to go down.
The villagers?
Actually, dead bombards. They're just going to go for it. And that's a lot of dead villagers right there. I mean, they're alive now, but they're not going to be for long.
Well, it's Magic? No, he's too chivalrous. He says, no, not the villagers. Show me the filthy traders instead. So, SortOf dodges death there. But they're not out of the woods yet. In fact, this woods never feels safe. That is, what, 30 knights in the back of your base from Magic. And it's going to massacre the trade.
Awesome H.
How is he... like, you'd think with this much gold, State would find a way up. But no.
Yeah, 43 traders. Now 40, now 39. It's going down quickly. The Knights are definitely doing their job there. Getting a lot of kills on these traders. And I mean, it's going to be so tough to stay alive here. Like, look at that. The Archers, even with the poison arrows, they're just not doing anything. Now, also on the opposite side, Rams are coming in with men-at-arms.
Do they even notice? I'm concerned. If they don't notice, those Rams move up north. They take out the marketplaces. It doesn't even matter if you keep the traders alive. Not as many left to live at this rate. And that Siege Battalion from Mitoe, calculated approach, just basically ensuring there's no re-wall, keeping it open so that Magic can follow up with his next wave, and his next wave, and his next.
I'm actually surprised that Magic had the income to produce Knights for so long in this game. He's on the last large gold vein now in their base. So at some point he's gonna have to transition to trade as well, and it looks like he is making some traders now.
Well, folks, I mentioned that HRE trade is not something you'd expect. But sadly, when the games go this long, you're going to have to consider it, especially if you're relying on Knights this much. Oof.
Man, I mean, the game's going this long is truly just a testament to how even these teams are, right?
Yes.
Like,
is that... That's a red keep, right?
Yeah, it's a red keep.
Oh my god, that's a red keep. Yep. They're looking for sacred sites now.
Gonna be really tough. Yeah, sacred site, probably like the game that we had earlier. Team SortOf. Not looking too hot right now. Looks like IamMagic and Mitoe are gonna do the same thing to Team SortOf that they've been done to in the last game.
They're too split. Like, they can't win that fight in the north. Those Knights are still gonna come out ahead. Mangoes get one good hit, but one good hit simply isn't enough. The Men-at-Arms now diving in, looking for the Culverins. That's going to be a smash and grab.
That's a big miss.
Mango as well. They actually might get both Mangoes. Just about keeps them alive, but still a pricey engagement. SortOf at stake.
I don't think their siege works. Else these Mangoes, there's no way that they die so quickly on the Culverins as well.
Oh, this is the bait. You can't chase this.
Way tankier. Yeah, I mean, these are all elite archers, and now 3 Bombards as well. Bombards and Culverins, they take down the Men-at-Arms so quickly if they're used to take them down.
Checkup's coming.
Finally, Fort of the Huntress after 40 minutes, Imperial Age. By state.
What do you
on
need
the
in
horizon.
Imperial anyway? Like, what do you get out of that Crackety? I mean, elite. What does that really do?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, if he went for the Great Barra, and we talked about the Mangonels earlier.
Yeah. Well, think about with the Bombards right now. Like, I don't think E-repairs would even be quick enough.
Has he even used the festival yet?
I'm not sure.
I'm not even sure if he's... I've never seen the units light up.
Well, E-prepare's going to come out. Mangonel is just parked there right now. It's still not been clicked. I mean, it would just actually instantly have got rid of that keep. Instead, the E-repairs allow a reset. But Magic with the second wave, trading out for that siege again. You are just starving the Holy Roman Empire of that gold that they are so renowned for. Wait, is he? Okay, I thought he's... Sorry, it's actually Mustafadi. I thought there was a cannon killing those villagers for a second.
He does have Mustafadi, which are going to get a really, really nice damage buff as soon as the fortress comes up.
He's using stone for this, by the way. He's desperate to keep this keep up, keep it alive, but...
It's not gonna stay alive.
No chance.
3 Bombards, it's down now.
And look at the siege trade out. These Culverins, man. Mitoe has been siege king in this game. Nobody has been able to contest him.
And with that, the economy is going to be open. Villagers on the farms are going to be going down. It's exposed. Yeah, this is GG now.
You filthy snake. He's moving in with more. These Magic on the flanks. It really has been his Magic act for this game. Bombards on the primary TC. It's not just the fact that your trade is now assaulted. Your whole food eco, as SortOf, is deadline. There's no way that it can sustain this amount of pressure upon it.
Yeah, Mustafadi Warriors also not being able to... Archers actually fighting against the farm there. Okay, now they're refocused. Mustafadi actually breaking the front line a little bit there from Magic, but at the same time, I mean, the siege, Mitoe just being on top of the game here and taking down all the siege from SortOf, and the economy is open. Farming is mostly stopped now for SortOf. He doesn't have a way back into this because the keep is also going up in the front.
Exactly, that's a Mitoe keep. That's not a SortOf keep, but it is sort of a game-winner move here. That much I can definitely say. As GG gets called, Might and Magic will continue on. SortOf and State unable to complete the reverse sweep.
It looked so good there for them for a while. I mean, at the beginning, it looked quite critical with the relics. I think SortOf, he lost like 6-7 prelates there trying to get relics out on the map, but Magic and Mitoe just being on top of that and denying a lot of the relics. Then later on, suddenly it switched around again. SortOf and State looked in a good position. But then it just felt like State, he just couldn't get that transition into Imperial Age down. And the trade came in the end, still gave him like a chance into this game. But the static push with the siege from Mitoe, it was just too much for them.
Yeah, a calculated approach. I just love the way that they kind of came back to this wide arc style. Like, some players would have actually pivoted away because they tried this same strategy in Hill and Dale, right? Play flank Magic, I'll play center. It backfired completely, right? It actually proved to be their kryptonite. But in this game, they actually had the stable line of keeps. They had the positioning and the resource, as well as the spread of the map, right, being a lot wider, allowed Magic to find those critical flank attacks that give them the win